Oh my God. It's
Hi.
hi. It's December, right? It's definitely the end of
Oh, yeah.
Survivor 43. You know, we've been very consistent throughout the entire season. We got Survivor 44 starting a few months. Oh, wait, Allie, it's actually February 23rd, I believe.
It
And
sure is. Like, we are very behind on Survivor because we just had so much going on with like work and just different things. Like IRL has just been like really busy and hectic lately. So we're
yeah,
like very behind on our podcast.
yeah, to put it lightly, we have been booked and busy when it comes to projects. I mean,
Oh yeah.
there's been so many things that we've been working on. November and December, we were hosting an org, and that took up the majority of our time. Great
Yep.
season, by the way, great winner as well. Shout out to Aaliyah, we love her.
Oh yeah.
But
Love
you know, then we had some other things going on, and then we just have not. And every time we wanted to sit down and like do Survivor, either I was working like what did I just hear a doorbell?
Oh no, that was I was gonna go grab the link to post it on Twitter.
Oh, okay. I was
Just
like,
on my Twitter.
was like somebody at the door. You should probably get that. But no, in all seriousness, we just really have had no time to talk about this at all. Anytime I've wanted to, I've had like a really early morning shift from work, or Allie's been working, and we knew that we had a lot that we needed to talk about, and we just haven't had the time to do it. But thankfully, today we're finally getting this done. We're finally talking about the rest of Survivor 43, and because of the fact that we are pressed for time, we're also going to be talking about Survivor 44. We're going to do a little cast assessment and draft. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but there's a lot to get into. But as always, I am here with my lovely and beautiful co-host, Allie. How are you doing?
I'm really good actually. Just worked for just a little over 6 hours earlier, and then I work all weekend. And then other than that, just been pretty good. Just been hanging out with my friends, like my coworker friends, and also Emily a lot. I celebrated my birthday a couple weeks ago,
Love
and
that.
yeah, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I haven't had anything too crazy going on. Working a lot, you know, trying to catch up on 2022 movies, because we're at
Yes.
that point where we have 3 weeks until the Oscars, and it's crunch time right now. I'm trying to watch as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
That's a whole different can of worms. That's over at my regular channel if you want me to discuss that more at length. But yeah, let's get into this. Survivor 43. We have a lot to talk about because admittedly, we haven't talked about this season since episode 7. And I will just say right now, if you recall, when it came down to like the way this season started out, I really wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't really like the direction that it was heading. I do think the last half of the season, it did get a little bit better, but I don't think it really ignores the problem I have with this season, which I'll get more into a little bit. But the way we're going to do this is, you know, normally Allie and I like divide up the notes and we do it that way. But since we have like 5 episodes to talk about, I'm going to talk about one episode. Allie's going to talk about the next. I'll talk about the next one. Allie talk about the next, and we'll do it that way. So we're going to start off here without further ado. Even though we've been dragging this out, we're going to start off here with episode 8. So
exciting.
We see Cody. He talks about how Tribal went really well. Him and Jesse decided to make a big move and vote out Dwight. Team Coco jumped on board, and as well as Sammy, which surprised him. Because remember, this was all the way back when Dwight was voted out. This is how behind we are. Cody talks about how James getting the knowledge is power advantage and how everyone was in panic mode. He says that they have to hope and pray that they made the right decision. And Sammy tells Janine what happened. Janine says the Tribal ended up being the worst case scenario for her. She lost an ally, and Dwight lost her idol because she gave it to him to hold on to. She was very shocked. She feels like an idiot, and she says she has no numbers, no immunity, and no idea how to start picking up the pieces. And I feel like this was a pretty clear indication that this was probably going to be the end for Janine. She just really had nobody left on her side at this point. And the people that she did, they always had somebody else in mind. Just not a very good showing for Janine here at all. But we'll get a little bit more.
She couldn't catch a break. I felt bad for her.
Yeah, I think she just really picked the wrong people to align with. Like, if she aligned with somebody that wasn't Ellie, I think she would have gone a lot farther. But just
Yeah.
that's just the nature of the game. But Sammy tells Noelle that Dwight had Janine's idol. She thinks that it's amazing, and Cassidy says that Janine's idol got flushed sort of by accident, which she thinks is insane because the idol is gone. So it's kind of perfect in her perspective. But in reality, it turns out Jesse actually has the idol in his pocket and nobody knows about it. And here's the thing. I've been propping up a lot that I don't like Jesse, that he's really cocky. I'm not going to lie. These last couple episodes, he kind of won me over. And I actually
I wouldn't
really
really say he's cocky. I feel like he's just more, well, I mean, kind of, but he's more like just confident because he's not even like a mean person or
no,
anything.
no, no, no. I think really it was just I think really it was just seeing it was just really seeing like how much he was like constantly doing well in the game. I was
Yeah.
like I like seeing the highs and lows where like someone starts off really well and then there's a period of time where things aren't going so well for them and they got to build back up again
Yeah.
and things like that. Um but I was I was hoping that that would happen for Jesse because I wanted to see how he would build back up from that. But honestly, with the way the rest of this game plays out for him, I honestly walked away pretty impressed by how he was as a game player, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like I was kind of harsh towards him as a player. I feel like he's played a lot better than I've given him credit for, and I think this is a very good example. Is
Mhm.
just what he was able to do with getting that idol from Janine. But before Tribal, Dwight came in, backed him, and gave it to him in a panic. He still has Cody's idol as well. So he now has two idols, neither of which are his, but were given to him just because of how good he was able to align with these people, in which he hasn't asked for it back yet. He says he kind of has two idols in a way. He knows that there's a knowledge is power floating around. So he's keeping the idol for himself to make big moves that people can't see until it's too late. So yeah, again, really great move for Jesse overall with the way that played out. Noelle talks
Yeah.
about how Cody and Jesse flipped and that she was left in the dark. And she says that there's shame on her because people started playing the game before she did, and it's just a kick in the ass. And she says her, Janine, Owen, and Gabler are on the bottom, but she doesn't believe the seven who voted together are a strong seven. And Sammy feels the seven are actually on a sinking ship, but they have to stick with that group because otherwise they will start to see his game more. And I've said it before, I think Sammy's in one of the better positions at this point. He's kind of put himself firmly in the middle, and that doesn't last. Spoilers, it doesn't really last at all. But for the immunity challenge, we see them balance on this pole. At regular intervals, they're going to add another section of the pole, making it more difficult. And if anyone drops, they're out. The last person remaining wins immunity. 5 players have to sit out if they decide to take the rice. And James, Sammy, Carla, Cassidy, and Jesse agreed to sit out. And after a very tight race, Owen does end up winning immunity. And this is really when we start to see like the trajectory of the season. There's very few people who walk away with immunity that aren't Owen, Cassidy, or Gabler
I
by the
know.
yeah, or Gabler by the end of the season. And this is really where we start to see that happen. So
Yeah.
Owen says he had a desire to win after James called him out for being protected, which he found extremely patronizing. So yeah, I mean, really great win for Owen. Owen is somebody that I really did end up liking by the end of this season, but he's another person that I just wish we got to see more of. I think that his game is very interesting, and I would have liked to see more of it throughout the season. And I think that they just
Yeah.
didn't really do much. They didn't really give him the they didn't really benefit him. We'll get more into that towards the end, but everyone discusses that Janine is the vote tonight because she's smart and sneaky. Sammy asks Jesse if he's down to vote Ryan, and Cassidy says that Janine is not a big threat. Cassidy wants to vote out a guy because it would allow the women to gain a little bit more momentum and have stronger numbers going forward. And she's tired of seeing women go home, which isn't the intention, but it's frustrating to her, which, yeah, that's definitely one of the
Mhm.
frustrations of the season.
It sure
She
is.
thinks that Ryan wouldn't have her back. She's ready to fight, rock the boat, and be cutthroat. Cassie talks about how her game is more subtle, but she's still making moves while maintaining trust. And we get to Tribal here. Ryan says that he feels like they're slowing down. They're trying to figure things out. Gabler says that he's been hearing 2 different plans all day, but it honestly ends up being a really straightforward vote because by 9-2, Janine's the next person eliminated, first member of the jury. really not too much of a shock here. Things just really were
No.
not going well for Janine. She was trying to fight hard, but it just wasn't really working out for her. Any final thoughts on Janine before we move on to the next episode?
I mean, I really like her as a person,
Oh yeah.
and she had a lot of potential,
And
but
she's a lot. I will say the one thing about Janine that I'm gonna remember, and it sucks. This is like the only thing I'm gonna remember for Janine. Her like her any time that something happens at a tribal council and she's on the jury, her reaction is just it's everything. Like the
I
shock in her
know.
face, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Oh yeah.
some great gifts in future
It's such a good
seasons.
meme.
Oh
But
yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
she definitely had a lot of potential, but she just a lot of things just didn't work out for her, and
Yeah.
she just had a lot of bad luck. And
Yeah.
game-wise, like, she's not the best player. She's definitely like, she has potential, but she just isn't that great of a player,
Yeah. I
sadly.
think Yeah, I think really it was just a matter of not working with the right people and
Yeah,
not really
agreed.
recognizing that she wasn't in a great position until it was too late. And I
Mhm.
think there were definitely ways she could have potentially moved forward after Ellie left, but I feel like because she was so closely tied to Ellie and didn't really have stronger relationships with everybody else, it really just ended up crumbling for her. So yeah, I
Yeah,
wasn't too surprised to see Janine go here. Maybe one day she'll get a second chance, but this just wasn't the season for her. But that's
yeah.
everything that goes on episode 8. Let's move on to episode 9, which Allie here is going to
Oh, did you
recap a bit.
wait, did you say what she said in the end?
Oh, that I don't think that's that important. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, that's true. Alright.
It's happened forever. Like I don't think that's that important. She
Yeah.
talks about how like she thinks that Dwight leaving with the idols like a major impact in her game, but like she doesn't even realize that Dwight didn't have the idol in the first place. So yeah, well,
Alright.
he did, but
Getting
then
into
gave it to Jesse.
Yeah. Alright. Getting into episode 9, Sammy says he wasn't ready to take Janine out, and now he's ready to shake up this game. He says they got to start picking off the people at the top. He says Owen is the only person who is left out of the vote, so he wants to make sure he knows he's willing to work with him going forward. Owen is kind of pissed at James for lying to his face about getting him to vote for Ryan. He didn't want to see Janine going home, but he's very grateful Gabler told him at the last second, and he's sick of James for leaving him out of votes.
Yeah.
One of the downfalls for James.
Oh yeah, definitely. This was definitely like, yeah, James is not doing as well as we hoped.
For this immunity challenge, they're going to hold onto a handle, clamping a ball between a set of jaws. If at any point they lower that handle, their ball will drop and they're out. There's a twist for the challenge. 2 teams of 5 and 1 person from each team will win immunity. Both groups will go to tribal groups separately and vote somebody out. The last person standing for the entire challenge earns reward for their team of 5. And
Right, yeah. We forgot to say this episode is a double.
Yeah.
Really weird that it wasn't like an hour and a half or 2 hours or something like
I
that. It
know.
felt like there was a lot more that like we needed to see that we just didn't. But this was definitely like one of the stronger episodes, I think.
Oh yeah, this is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
The reward is PB&J. They'll also get an advantage of going to tribal last, and they get to see what happens at the first tribal.
Yes.
So red team are
Which is for this vote especially very important, and we'll get into why.
Oh yeah. Red team are Cassidy, Jesse, Gabler, Ryan, and Cody. Blue team are Owen, Sammy, Noel, Carla, and James. And then Carla wins immunity for blue, and Cody wins immunity for red. And then the red team wins PB&J and going to tribal last.
Yes.
Gabler and Ryan discuss going for Cassidy. Ryan says he can't really trust her. The guys discuss that Cass, Carla, and James are the 3-headed Hydra that have been running things, and Ryan wants to break up Coco.
And to be fair, they're not wrong, but like I like those people, so let's not go for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's where I was at this point. I wasn't a fan of Gabler or Ryan, and I'm still not.
Yeah. Cassie, Cody, and Jesse discuss going for Ryan. Cass wants to believe Cody and Jesse are on her side, and she says if Ryan wants to make a big move right now, they could be coming after her. She tells Cody and Jesse that if they voted Ryan out now, the other side wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's in a similar position where he doesn't really have a lot of people, so.
Yeah, agreed. Cassie says being on Survivor is what she's dreamed about since she was little. And
We don't need to read this part.
oh, yeah, that's true. Not really.
It's a really touching moment, but like it's not. We don't have to discuss it. We have 5 episodes to discuss. We don't.
Yeah,
have to
we're just going for key points and stuff.
yeah.
Carla says James is a crucial part of her alliance, and she knows she wants to vote out Owen, who isn't part of her alliance. She also says she has to be careful. Noelle says Owen is probably going to go for James and that he's going to try to sway the others. Noelle says they need to talk to him to make sure he's feeling comfortable so he doesn't play a shot in the dark. Owen and James discuss the vote, and there's definitely tension between them because of the last vote. Kely and Jesse discussed who they can ride or die with, and that they need to weigh their options out, and they think Ryan's a good shield, and Cody says he's just a free agent all the time.
Yeah.
They say James and Carla wouldn't be happy if they take out Cassidy, and Jesse thinks Cassie is super social and super strategic, which is a little bit concerning to him. He says if they send Ryan home, they're sending a challenge beast home, which is good for him. But Ryan isn't a strategic threat. And Cody says this vote is very crucial because people are starting to think of their final 3, final 5, etc. It's getting to that part of the game, and Cody says he's always like Gabler because he's been a straight shooter the whole time, and he's a free agent that will be loyal. Gabler thinks it's music to his ears that Cody approached him with the final 3 of them and Jesse, and he seems to be positioned very well.
Which, here's the thing, and I'm going to mention this every time we talk about Gabler. Gabler is one of those people who throughout the entire season, I didn't take a second of what he said seriously, but maybe I should have. And this is one of those moments where I was like, yeah, sure, Gabler, but we'll talk about it.
Noelle is going to play her steal a vote in case Owen plays a shot in the dark, so they have a backup plan. She's been telling people to vote Owen out, but she wants James out because he has Cass and Carla in his back pocket and that he's kind of running everything. Her plan is to make James feel comfortable enough to not play his knowledge as power, and she wants to make a big move and pull off blindside. And then she lets Sammy and Owen in on the plan.
And look, I like James, but this is such a good plan. And I thought Noelle really spearheaded this very well. Like at this moment, I was like, Noelle is a really good chance to potentially win the game. And you guys know, like Noelle was my winner pick coming into the season. So like anything Noelle does, I'm going to get excited for. But like this was legitimately like a really great move for her.
Oh, it was so good. Carla thinks Owen is the easiest option going forward, and Sammy says Carla's opinion matters more to him than anybody else's right now. He wants to vote out James, and he needs to convince Carla that this is the right thing to do. He asks who Carla trusts more out of him and James, and she thinks this doesn't sit well with her, and she agrees James is a strategic player, but he's very valuable right now. At the first tribal, Noelle steals Owen's vote with her advantage, and by a vote of 4-1, James is the next person eliminated and is the second member of the jury.
Yeah, I was not too surprised to see James go here. His name has been floating around, I feel like, since the merge started. And job well done to Noelle for pulling it off. I think the only thing that sucks about James going here was that I really was liking the 3 of like him, Cassidy, and Carla. And I do think if James had stayed, things would have been very different on that side of things. But maybe not, considering what we find out at the finale.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about the second tribal.
All right. Jesse is surprised.
Anything you want to say about James, though, before we...
He was, I mean, I really liked him. It definitely sucked, but it also was a good move to get him. Because, I mean, him, Carla, and Cassidy were a trio and everything. So it was definitely sad, but it was also a great move. And he did a good job.
But yeah, I think he was definitely one of the more like likable, fun players of the season that I would like to see again at some point. But yeah.
Jesse is surprised to see James out just because he seemed to be a strong player. Ryan says when he goes back to camp, he wants to talk to everyone on the other tribe to see what happened. Cody feels like he was an integral vote tonight, having immunity.
Yeah, I think it's really crazy how, like, this is, like, one of the only times I've seen, like, oh, if this person goes, then we have to go for this person. And that's really how they, like, strategize this here.
Yeah. At the second tribal, Ryan is eliminated by a vote of 4-1, so another 4-1 vote, and is the
Yeah.
third member of the jury, which is not shocking at all.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, I think, really just played way too hard. I think he was always trying to like be in the majority. He was always trying to spearhead votes. And I feel like, especially where he wasn't gonna get that much farther. Like Jesse didn't have his back as much as he thought he did.
Yeah.
Cody and Gate, like they didn't really have his back all that much. And so I just wasn't too surprised to see Ryan go out here. Not really
Ryan,
someone I was that fond of this season. I thought he was
he was
just
he was just there for me. Like I didn't
yeah.
hate him, but I didn't dislike him, and I didn't love him either. He was just kind of there.
He didn't have a good enough edit to like really latch on to him. So I was just kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, Ryan's gone. That's honestly how I feel about a lot of the players this season. Like they didn't really have that strong edit where I'm like, yes, love everything that they're doing. There's a couple people like that, but someone like Ryan, wasn't
Yeah.
didn't really phase me either way. But anyway, let's get to episode 10, which I'm gonna preface this right now. For some reason, is the episode that has the most notes. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I took so many notes for this episode. So
I thought I wrote the notes for this one, or did we both?
I think you did, and then I like added a bunch of stuff.
Oh,
But
okay, yeah. Because I remember writing a lot too.
yeah,
So
I haven't had the time to like go through everything we wrote here. So there might be some stuff here that's not even relevant. And if there is, we're just going to skip over it because I don't want this video to be 3 hours long. So anyway, let's get to episode 10.
All right.
Carla talks about how she was supposed to be out of the loop of the James vote. Owen tells her that they had this plan, but Noelle mentions that Sammy had talked to her and Carla voted the way everyone wanted to vote. But she's frustrated because the first time people have planned to leave her out of a vote. They specifically made sure Carla was not a part of this. And this was really, I feel like, the beginning of the downfall for Carla. We've been Team Carla like the entire season.
Like, girl.
Yeah, we've been Team Carla for the entire season, but I gotta say, the way she plays this endgame is not ideal. To put it like
so bad.
Really was not a great end of showing for Carla. I still think she's a really good player. I was not impressed by a lot of what she did.
Yeah, she just played the end game really bad.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Cassidy feels pretty good about the Ryan vote, which she should. He was like coming hard for her, and they were able to come to fruition. She says that it was more sweeter by the fact that he was trying to blindside her again, but she actually got him this time. So, good job on Cassidy for doing that. So Jesse feels good about both outcomes and where things are. He's confident that Carla has an idol because of her constantly looking for beads, which, to be fair, Carla makes it so obvious that she has the idol. Jesse tells Carla that Sammy is trying to overplay his position. Carla doesn't understand why, since he was in the majority. And Jesse thinks that there's a lot of distrust between people because of the tribals. And he says he's sort of sitting in the position where, like him, Cody and Gabler are riding the middle. He has a really good relationship with Noelle and Owen, as well as the other sides, such as Carla and Cassidy. So Jesse is really in a great position here. He's firmly in the middle. He's got a lot of people on his side. And this is really where, like I said, I started to get very impressed by Jesse's game. I was like, wow, he's actually doing much better than I've given him credit for. So we get this reward challenge, and this might be my favorite challenge of the entire season. It's so easily the most impactful, the most memorable, I think.
It was amazing.
Basically, they're going to spin inside a metal frame, slowly winding a buoy toward them. Once it crosses the line, they're going to race through a series of obstacles to collect a sandbag. They will then race, get that sandbag to the top of the tall tower. First person to do so wins reward. The winner will leave there and go directly to the sanctuary. And this is where they get like the pizza and the cheesecake and brownies and beer and wine. And in addition, they're going to spend the night there. And, it's like the best reward of the entire season. So the faster they spin, the faster they will get their buoy. And this was a very exciting challenge to watch because you see Noelle who's like really struggling. Her leg keeps coming off and things like that. There's a point where she actually has to take it off and start hopping. And you think that this is going to really hinder it. But no, she has this amazing comeback and actually ends up winning the reward. And she decides
I was so emotional watching this. I was so
me too. specifically because of what she says, like at the end here. She decides to pick Sammy, Jesse, and Owen to join her at the sanctuary. And she talks about how like she was really doubting herself, but she didn't want to give up because she came out here wanting to prove to herself and to everybody else that she can do these challenges, and she did it. And there's nothing better than this moment that she can ever describe. And I was just so proud of Noelle in this moment. Like,
me too.
she's honestly really killed it in so many of these challenges. You could see how
Yeah.
hard she has fought through it, and it's just been amazing to watch her do that, to have that
Yeah.
confidence in herself, to constantly persevere through against all odds. And
She's such a strong person.
yeah, she's a very strong person to watch. And I really just felt what she was feeling in that moment. Like, it was just, you really, and I feel like it was one of the only moments this season, for me at least, that felt personal. There weren't, and that was something that was missing from a lot of the season. I didn't personally connect to a lot of these people, but this particular moment, I was like, yes, I feel this victory for Noelle. I can see how badly she wanted this and how much she was able to push through it. And it was a really great moment for her. So this is probably one of my favorite moments of the entire season. And I really like the way that, Noelle was able to push through that. So we get to the sanctuary. Noelle says that waking up this morning at their shelter compared to now, she's waking up to this beautiful place where they're going to be getting a great night's sleep. I don't know why I'm talking about this. This part isn't relevant. Owen says that the main events are the letters from home because they're an opportunity to pause and reflect and just have a minute to breathe because the speed of the 26-day game. Again, this is not important. Jesse opens his envelope and gets really emotional about it. We see Noelle, Sammy, Jesse, and Owen continue to bond, and they talk about their letters. Sammy has been thinking about the game and everything, and he's at the point where he actually wants to go for Cassidy next. So, Noelle knew moving forward that Sammy is very much a flipper, and this is really where things are not going well for Sammy. People are really starting to see through the game.
He was doing so well too, and then this was
he was, but I think he got a little too sloppy towards the end here, and I think this is an example of that. She says that he's been playing the middle, a man going back and forth. Taking him here was beneficial for her game because she could keep him comfortable, so he doesn't keep scrambling, which again is really smart on Noelle's part, and that maybe this will actually reassure him that he wants to work with her. She wants to make sure that she can get him in a place where he will want to work with her. And I think she did a good job in that initially. Owen then pitches a 3-3 vote split on Cassidy and Carla in case Carla has an idol. Noelle wants to start getting the biggest strategic threats out of the game, so she's hoping that they can get one of those two, and she's terrified that the girls are already saying her name while she's at the sanctuary. So back at camp, Cassidy, Carla, Gabler, and Cody are chatting and bonding. Cody asks if they're skeptical of Sammy, and Carla says that he's all over the place, and Cassidy says that she hasn't really built any trust with Noelle or Owen, and Cody thinks that Owen is her new Dwight in that way. So, which kind of, I would say they've definitely, I mean, they've had a close bond since and they touch upon this a little bit in the finale. Like, they've had this close bond, but this is yet another thing that they just haven't really shown us all that much. Like, we need to see more of the Owen and Noelle dynamic, and we just haven't gotten to see that as much. So Cassidy says it seems like it was a total loss for the people who didn't get the reward, but she's a big believer in a lot of the time where things don't go your way, there's a silver lining. We see Cassidy and Cody go for a walk, and Cassidy says it's the perfect time for her to find out where Cody's head's at because she wants to have the numbers on her side. And basically, they talk about how, they need to start going for the big threats, such as Noelle, because she's gaining momentum. Even though Noelle just had that amazing victory, it's now really kind of like exposed how big of a threat she is. And Cassidy says it's getting harder and harder to keep everyone on the same page because there's so much shifting in the game. And she's trying to keep her allies strong and intact, but she never fully knows where Gabler's head is at, and having him as a vote is going to be critical for her. So she goes to Gabler, to see where he's really at in the game, and he says that he wants to see what's going on, who's going to win immunity first. And he says he likes Noelle and that she's a hero inside the game. And Cassie mentions that she's a really big threat and doesn't want to go to the end with her. This is something that she's very firm on. She does not want to go to the end with Noelle. Cassie and Gabler really want to vote together here. So Gabler has positioned himself in a nice spot because both sides want him to vote with them, and neither side is talking about voting for him. He has options. Another moment, I'm not taking what he's saying seriously, but maybe I should have.
Oh gosh.
We'll talk about it later. Let's move on. We get to the immunity challenge, and another really exciting challenge to watch. They're balancing, it's the one where they're on like the balance beam and things like that. They have to build this house of cards with the other hand, and the first player to build a house of cards enough to reach the finish mark wins immunity. And after a very tight race, Cassidy wins immunity, secures her spot in the final 7. Really great win for Cassidy.
I will say we love the girl power with the challenges this episode.
And this is really what starts Cassidy's like immunity streak that she ends up going on throughout the rest of the season. So
she's a strong competitor. She's she's physical. Yeah. She's strategic. She's social. Yeah. She's everything. Triple threat.
And yet somehow she, we'll talk about it. So Noelle says it's a little bit of a hiccup that Cassidy won since their original plan was to split between her and Carla. So now she needs to come up with a new backup before Carla can get something going. Gabler is telling Noelle that Cassidy and Carla are looking at her and that if Cody and Jesse are fine, but that Sammy could go either way if it saved him. So Noelle says she can't really trust Sammy, especially because of what happened with the last tribal. She gained a lot of trust with Owen, and that she has a great relationship and alliance with Jesse and Cody, and that Gabler is a straight-up guy. So she's 95% confident that they can get Carla out here and that Carla will go. So Jesse tells Cody that if Noelle does this move, she has Sammy and Owen on her side, but says that Cassidy wouldn't trust them again if they were to do that. So it seems they're very conflicted as to what to do here. So Jesse says yesterday had a very emotional moment reading his letters from home and that Noelle gave him that moment. So it makes hard to think about potentially voting her out. And he really doesn't know if he wants to go for her here because she's like the reason that, he was able to read those letters and he's using that to motivate him to make the best decisions for him and his family. And basically, but Jesse talks about like every time they try to go for Noelle, she finds a way out and that she's really picking up speed here. So this might be the time to potentially vote her out. So Cody and Jesse agree she would turn on them. They're not surprised she would take out Carla and then them. So that kind of makes their decision a little bit easier that she's probably going to end up going here. So Noelle and Cody discuss this talk with Cody and Jesse.
Why did I write so many notes on this episode?
I mean, I wrote a lot as well, so.
I wrote a lot of, because I think I wrote like almost everything.
Yeah. Noelle says that no way Carla sees it coming. She wants him to see if Sammy is on board because she feels he would tell him. And Sammy tells Jesse he doesn't want Carla to go just yet. He's saying that the people who they were at the reward with, it's the easier route for them to go. He thinks that they can't go to the end with Noelle. And Jesse tells Owen and Noelle that Sammy said he wanted to go with them, but then said he's going to take the shot at her, and he just needs to split the votes on Carla and Sammy. So there's a lot of names out here. There's Noelle, there's Carla, there's Sammy. Any of them could end up going. Jesse wants to kind of split the votes with Carla and Sammy because Sammy is scared because she has the idol, and Carla's afraid that Noelle is going to come for her here. So Jesse then talks to Gabler. Gabler says they're looking to vote Carla and Sammy, but Jesse says that Cody was hoping that they would vote for Noelle as a blind side, and Gabler thinks about it, and Jesse mentions all of the allies that she gained and that she's a warrior in that way, and because of that, she's a really big threat. She's really, starting to pick up steam, and Gabler tells Carla that it's going to be okay, but he's a little concerned about Cody and Jesse because of how powerful they really are, and Gabler says he doesn't really like to be surprised, especially minutes before Tribal. So we finally get to Tribal after this extremely long recap. I don't know why, but we get to the vote. Noelle, sadly, is the next person eliminated and the fourth member of the jury. Really sad to see Noelle go here. I think that she played a really strong game. I think she was in a position where there were multiple times that she could have gone and she found a way to fight her way through it. She always had
she's a fighter.
Yeah, she always had some really great plans up her sleeve. Unfortunately, people just started to see through that, and I think that's why she ended up going.
She realized that she could have won.
Yeah, I mean, I think Noelle definitely could have won based on. I think just based on her perseverance alone and the fact that she was able to fight as hard as she did, I
Yeah.
think that's something that definitely would have been rewarded in the end. But then also the more strategic side of her that
Yeah,
people
definitely.
weren't seeing at first and then were starting to see, if she was able to, constantly overcome that, I
Mhm.
think she absolutely could have taken the win. So I was just very impressed by Noelle here. Sucks to see her go when she did, but very happy with the game that she played. And,
Yeah,
a
me
good
too.
showing here for who was my winner pick coming
I
into
think
this
my
season.
winner picks were a tie between her and Cassidy,
Yeah.
actually. I love them, and I
Yeah.
was so proud of her. She played such a great game, and she's just very strong and
Yeah.
resilient.
Yes. So really great for Noelle, but sucks to see her go here.
No.
So now we get to episode 11, which Allie's going to talk about, which I promise is not nearly as long of a recap because we just watched this one last night and we really took less notes because we knew that we were talking about 5 episodes. This was back when we thought we were going to talk about 3 episodes. And now we knew we were going to talk about like 5 episodes, starting off
We're
with this
trying to
next
catch up before the next season.
yeah, because we literally have Survivor 44 coming out in a week. So
Yeah.
woo.
All
But yeah,
right.
Allie, let's talk about episode 11, which honestly is a really good episode.
Oh, this one's a great one. All
Like I
right.
said, I think episode 8 and on, I thought it started to get like episode 9 and on, I think it started to get a little bit better.
Oh yeah, I
And this was
agree.
definitely one of the stronger ones.
Sammy talks about how he thought he was in the numbers and it would be smart to go after Carla, but he and Owen were left out and he couldn't have predicted what happened, and he feels he dug himself into a hole that is going to be hard to get out of. He's questioned by Carla if he voted for her, and he denies and blames Gabler, and she says she's going to talk to him. He decided to just be upfront and tell her the truth. She asks why he did it, and he says he thought it was completely on the other side, worried about an idol play, but clearly it didn't work.
Yeah, this was not a good move for Sammy at all. He tried to make a big move in going
Not
for
good.
Carla, but unfortunately, he just did not have the numbers, and it you can see at this point it like really is not a great moment for his game at all.
Not at all. Gabler tells Owen he was trying to signal to him that Cody and Jesse flipped last second, but he has a plan to get him to Final 3. Gabler feels he's in a good position after this vote, and no one is talking about him and as a target, and he's hiding in plain sight.
This is like all Gabler says throughout the rest of the season. I'm hiding in plain sight. I'm hiding in plain sight. It's like, we get it. You're hiding in plain sight. Once again,
You cannot take him seriously sometimes.
wasn't taking it seriously, but maybe we should have. We'll talk about why later.
He tells Owen he has a plan, but Owen is unsure he will make it because he hasn't voted correctly since Mariah left.
Yeah.
Owen is annoyed. He keeps finding himself on the outs constantly.
Yeah, Owen really is like the underdog here, but I feel
He
like
is.
unlike someone like say a Romeo from last season who like didn't have to be the underdog but constantly put himself in positions where he was the underdog,
Yeah.
Owen is really trying to not be, and it's just not working out for him.
I know. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
Sammy gets a letter from home. Carla lets Sammy know she is open to work with him, but if he ever wants to make a move with her. She asks who said her name first, and he lies and says Cassie said it in an attempt to salvage the relationship and that the two of them mutually want to go after her.
Yeah.
Carla is now worried that Cassie will tell people about her idol and has been honest with her from the beginning because of them being ride or dies, and she believes she is after her.
Yeah, let's talk about this for a second. So Carla, really good player, we'll say that. Still really good player, still really have enjoyed her throughout the season.
Yeah.
This is the move that ended her game. I legitimately think the reason Carla did not win Survivor 43 is because of this. And look, I understand that just because you're working closely with someone, you don't always have to take them to the end. But I feel like Carla was in a position where her game at this point was very exposed. People were really starting to see through what she was doing. It was very obvious that her and Cassidy were a duo. She should have just stuck by her as much as she could have, because I really do think Cassidy by the end of the game was really the only person that was probably going to take Carla to the end. I feel like everybody else probably either sends Carla to fire making, or what ends up happening to Carla
She
ends up
kind of
happening
needed Cassidy, but she turned on her.
Yeah, I really think that this was, and not to say that like her targeting Cassidy would ever be a bad move, but I
Yeah.
think one, the fact that she so easily bought into what Sammy was saying,
Mhm.
two, the fact that she did it at final, what is it, final 7 and not like a little bit later down the line.
Yeah,
I think really just made her kind of lose sight of the game. She's so focused on targeting Cassidy for the rest of the game. And
I
I think as a
know.
whole, she just isn't able to see, what she really needed to do, which was take out somebody like a Gabler, like a Jesse, like a Cody, because her targeting Cassidy was just not going to be beneficial for her in any way. And
Yeah, literally.
I did not understand this move at all.
I didn't either. It was so bad for her.
Yeah. And like I said, it sucks because like I think the rest of the season she was great, but like this move was just this was not it.
Yeah. She brings this up to her later and she assures her she will not let anyone know about the idol, but Carla isn't sure if she's really with her. Cassidy wants Sammy out. They are told
Yeah.
there's an advantage hidden within the jungle. Cody ends up finding it and is told his advantage basically gives him the opportunity to bet on one player who he thinks is the best chance to win the challenge. And this gives him 2 chances at immunity. And he will write down leaving for the challenge and then give it to Jeff.
What'd you think about this? Did you like this advantage?
It was definitely unique.
It was, but like I just feel like this was kind of
Interesting.
like this was replacing do or die. This was not
Yeah,
here. This was here because people didn't like do or die, which
it
they
was.
should.
It's like I don't think it was needed.
No, this it really just felt like this was
Better
only
than do or die, but it's still no.
it's definitely it's not, it's not completely unfair like do or die.
Mhm.
But I just feel like this was a completely useless advantage. Like really think about the season. This had no impact on anything whatsoever. Like I
Literally
don't even
no.
understand why this was here.
I didn't either. It was just kind of like it wasn't needed.
Yeah, I hope we don't see it again in 44 because it's nothing.
The immunity challenge is the classic submerging them underwater to test their fear.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it comes down to Cody and Carla, with Carla ultimately winning.
And also Owen. Owen also won, I forgot to say.
Also, Owen as well.
Yeah.
Everyone is unsure what to do, knowing there's a possibility Cody could also be safe tonight.
Yeah.
Cassidy is worried. Cassidy's worried people are seeing her and Carla as a tight duo, and they will take a shot at her to weaken Carla. She's hoping Sammy is the vote tonight, but Carla still seems to want her out.
Again, I don't like why does she want Cassidy out when they can easily just take Sammy out? Sammy just tried to go for Carla. I don't understand why she would take Sammy's word so easily when he literally just told her the reasoning that he went for her. Like even if Cassidy was behind that, you have to recognize that, like, I've been working with Cassidy the whole game. I haven't really been working with Sammy. Like, why would I just trust Sammy's word here? I just did not understand it. Like, I don't know.
No.
Like I said, I don't know what happened to Carla at this point in the game, but she just completely lost sight of everything.
She
It seems
did. She was not thinking straight.
no,
Not thinking clearly at all.
not at all.
Jesse can sense how much Carla wants Cassidy out, and knowing she doesn't see her as a key piece in her game, and wants Sammy out, knowing she's clearly getting closer with him, and also thinks he will be a big threat of fire making.
Yeah.
At the tribal, Sammy makes it clear he is playing in his shot in the dark, which annoys Carla. However, he is sick of being lied to.
Yeah, Sammy makes a fundamental flaw here. I've said at this point, Shot in the Dark is like a game-ending advantage. I've never seen Shot in the Dark be played on this show and not be not safe. Like every single time someone has played it has fundamentally ruined their game. So I feel like what Sammy should have done was either make up an advantage, which actually has worked before. People have tried to make up advantages and people have bought into it. Hell, we hosted a game and somebody, shout out to Brian DeLeon, made up an advantage and people bought into it even when he was lawn out of the game. So it works.
So funny.
It's definitely something that can work. You just have to, strategize it right. And I don't think Sammy saying he's going to play a shot in the dark was the way to go about this, because then people are probably going to think, well, he's probably not going to be safe, so we can just easily go for Sammy. And I don't think this was, I don't think this was the correct move here. But I understand he had to fight for his life, and this was like, he needed that lifeline, didn't have a lifeline, all that stuff. But yeah, not the greatest thing he could have done.
It is revealed Cody bet on Owen to win the challenge, which makes him also immune for the round.
Which again has no impact on anything. Cody was not going.
Yeah. Sammy does play his shot in the dark, and it's not safe.
So shocked.
Ultimately, Sammy is voted out by a vote of 6-1.
Yeah. I will say we haven't been reading the message, like the little like the little like confessionals they do at the end. But this one was actually pretty funny. So I feel like we should mention it.
He says in his message, he talks about Teslas and his mom is getting into electric cars and this will work out for both of them.
Yeah, just so fucking random what he was talking about here. I thought it was just really funny and probably one of the most unique goodbye messages that I've seen.
So funny.
But yeah, I enjoyed Sammy a lot. I think he was honestly a lot better than the majority of like the 19-year-old players that we've been seeing. And I thought that he was honestly going to go really far. I think, again, what ultimately hurt him was the fact that there were just stronger players in front of him. There were people who saw through what he was doing and unfortunately got to a point where he was just too exposed and he couldn't get any farther. But I honestly was a lot more impressed by Sammy this season than I expected to be. And kudos to him for playing the game that he did. But what did you
think? He was honestly like, he really surprised me because he's like this young guy.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
And he did so well. He was very strategic.
And also successfully convinced everybody that he was 22 years old and not 19, which he reveals.
Yeah, that's true.
And they were like, oh my God, he's 19. What the fuck? So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, Sammy was somebody I did enjoy watching this season. We get to episode 12, which I will just say right now, this is easily the best episode of the season. I really like what we get here. I think that the gameplay and the strategy was really at an all-time high in this episode, and there was a sense of momentum that we just didn't have in any other episode this season that I feel like was here. And for me, this was like easily the most memorable episode of this season. Like when I think of Survivor 43, this is the episode I'm gonna think of. So we see Owen. He talks about how the plan was for Carla to vote for Cassidy, but she changed her mind. So he's making it his sole mission to drive a wedge between the two of them so Cassidy will realize how badly Carla needs to go. So he tells Cassidy she was planning to vote for her. And this is why it was such a bad move for Carla to want to gun for Cassidy, because anybody can take that as ammunition to then want to go for Carla. Like it's very easy to do that. And so I feel like Carla should have just kept calm, recognized that what Sammy was saying was probably bullshit, just vote Sammy out, and that would have been the end of it. Like, I don't think this was the right move at all. And again, I think Carla just really does not play this endgame very well. Cassidy confronts her on this and denies it, hoping that she won't tell anyone about her idol. Carla then tells Jesse to verify he's voting with her. But Jesse is a lot more clever than that. He's not just going to go to Cassidy and say, yeah, Carla's telling you the truth. What he does instead was tell her that Carla was playing to vote her out and that everything that Cassidy has been told is true. And this really lights this fire under Cassidy to now really want Carla out. Like, Carla's her number one target at this point, which again, to Cassidy's point, is understandable. Like, this is somebody who's been ride or die with her since the beginning, has always had her back, is the reason that she's still here. And now all of a sudden she's targeting her. Yeah, obviously Cassidy's going to be really annoyed and wants to get Carla out. But the difference with Cassidy is that her entire focus is not, let's get Carla out. She wants to get Carla out, but she has other targets in mind. Whereas it seems like Carla has this tunnel vision where now she just wants to get Cassidy out, and it doesn't end up working for her. So they are then given a reward challenge involving a hamster wheel. Owen ultimately emerges victorious, as well as Carla and Cody, who all get to enjoy an array of pastries. And a really good win for Owen, I feel like, because Owen, like I said, very much an underdog at this point, really needed this win. It was a really great win for him overall. We get to the sanctuary. Carla plays up the idea that she doesn't have an idol and it's been ruining her game since the merge. Cody buys into this, but then through talking with Owen, sees her as a huge threat. but also thinks getting Cassidy out would be a great backup plan. And Owen sees her as someone with the potential to win. So Cassidy, Jesse, and Gabler are talking about who to vote for. Gabler brings up how dangerous Cody and Carla are, especially with them both having idols. And Cassidy lets them know right here, this is where she does it, that Carla has the idol, which again is another really dumb reason why Carla should not have targeted Cass. This is another reason why Carla should not have targeted Cassidy and why it was a really bad move, because Cassidy can easily just go to anyone and say, hey, you know those suspicions about Carla having the idol? Yeah, they're true. She has it. She's told me. Like, just, I can't get over it. Carla literally could have won this game, and she just completely squandered it through this.
She literally screwed herself.
Absolutely. And it's, again, I love Carla. It sucks, but like this was so bad.
I know.
So Cody wants to make sure one of the 4 guys wins the challenge so they can take out Carla here. But Jesse's a little bit more conflicted. He knows that Cody's a big threat, but he's been loyal to him and he's held on to his idol. But he also has Janine's idol that everyone thinks walked out the door and he could play it at any point. So the next immunity challenge goes down where they have to go through this cargo net and complete a puzzle. Cassidy once again wins immunity here, secures her spot in the final 5. Probably the most interesting outcome because there was a very strong chance, I think, that Cassidy could have potentially gone here with the way that they were playing things up. They wanted to kind of
probably would have been like one of the people going.
Yeah, I think Cassidy very well could have gone here. And the fact that she won, I think, makes this a much more interesting final 6 overall. So basically, we see Cody and Carla tell each other about their idols. Cody thinks of this plan, which is honestly a really brilliant plan, that they're both going to threaten to use their idols so no one's going to vote for them. And instead, it's going to put the votes on Owen or Gabler. However, Cody has an ulterior motive and plans to use this as the reason to make Carla feel safe so they can easily vote her out. And I was like, oh my God, Cody's like really big braining this shit.
Right.
The problem is you have Jesse, who is always thinking for one person, and that's himself at this point. He's very conflicted knowing the move that Cody's trying to make. And although he feels he will take him to the end, he's unsure if he could actually beat Cody, knowing what Cody's actually trying to do. And that people are going to see him as second in command, which I don't think is like an incorrect read. I think that's very well what could have happened, because
I think so too.
Well, if you look at the game Cody's played, it's been very flashy. He's won a lot of challenges. He's had quite a few advantages. He's had a lot of very interesting plays throughout the season. Whereas
he's just very he's just very outgoing. He's got a big personality.
Yeah, Jesse's game, on the other hand, is a lot more subtle. And when your game is a lot more subtle, it's a lot harder to sell that to the jury than someone like Cody, whose game was kind of speaking for itself at that point. So I think it was honestly really good for him to recognize this is when you turn on your ride or die. This is when you turn on your ride or die. Not what Carla did and suspect that Cassidy knows about her idol.
Yeah.
When you know that you are good with this person, but you don't know if they can beat you in the end, and you know that you have a chance to potentially prove why you were, why you were actually the more dominant player. This is where I think is a good time to actually turn on your ride or die. And the way Jesse handles this, I was blown away by. So
I was shook. It was crazy.
Yeah, he pushes his name, tells Owen he has Cody's idol, so Cody is actually an option to be voted for. Unfortunately, this gets complicated once Cody asks Jesse to give it back to him so he can show Carla that he has it, and Jesse's just like dumbfounded about this. He's like, well, I guess there goes that plan. So at the tribal, Jesse does actually end up playing the idol, and Jesse has one more trick up his sleeve. He's going to make sure that this vote goes the way that he wants it to go. So what he does is he pulls out the idol and he plays it on Owen. And you can just see the utter shock in Cody's face when he does this. This was the last person that he thought. And the only reason Jesse played on Owen was because he knew that's the person that Cody was voting for, and that would negate Cody's vote at that point. And what happens after that? Carla plays her idol, which means Cody's not going to play his idol here. There's no real reason to do that at this point. So ultimately, Jesse's plan does end up working out. Cody is the next person voted out. And I love the way he reacted here. He's so shocked at first and stunned, but then he turns to Jesse. You think maybe he's going to yell at him or something, but no, he actually, like, he gives him a little fist pump. He says it was a job well done. And he's impressed that he was able to actually pull it off. And honestly, just like top tier move
honestly,
from
that's
Jesse here.
how he should be too. Like that's how people should be. Like not bitter. They should be like, okay, this is a good move. Good job, guys.
I mean, everyone's going to
My
react.
closest ally did that.
What?
Like he's probably like my closest ally did that.
Yeah, like everyone's going to react to things differently. So I can't really say like this is how somebody should act and
Well,
all
yeah.
that stuff.
It's just because some people can be very bitter.
But I did really just like seeing just how impressed Cody was by this move, because I don't feel like we see that very often, especially when it's like your ride or die. The way Cody reacted, I think it really is a testament to how well Jesse ended up playing this. He made sure he had all of the pieces in play to make sure that this move went the way that he did, and he just pulled it off flawlessly. It's honestly one of the most impressive moves I've seen in the 3 seasons of Survivor I watched, and I really wish this season was as good as this move, because this move was phenomenal, but unfortunately that is not the case. And we do have one more episode to talk about, but let's just talk about Cody here. Cody was a player that I really did not think I was going to like at first. I thought he was going to be obnoxious and annoying, but after a couple episodes, I really started to just like just the utter chaos that he provided within this season. I thought he was so much fun to watch. He was such an interesting character. And I think when it came down to, his game, I think he did have a very strong chance of winning. He's very charismatic. He's a very big personality in that way. And so I do think that, the fact that he was able to get all the way to 6 in itself is very impressive, because I feel like Cody's somebody who in other seasons, he's probably somebody that flames out, doesn't do as well. I do think a lot of that is due to Jesse. Jesse made sure that Cody was well protected, but I do think Cody did a lot for himself as well. I was just really enjoyed Cody this season, but what do you want to say about Cody?
Yeah, honestly, like I didn't really have I wasn't like a huge fan of him preseason, but then when I was watching him, I'm like, okay, he's actually really funny. He's very entertaining. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's just very like eccentric, very silly, very fun, and like good player too. Like he had all these advantages. He won comps.
Yes,
he's social. Like he's just a very likable guy, very fun. Mm-hmm. And like I feel like he's just someone that like they'll all hang out with outside of the house, or outside of the house, outside of the game. Like they're probably gonna like party with him and just hang with him and stuff, and like have a good time.
Heard here first. The island is a house.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, he was honestly like he really surprised me and became like one of my favorites to watch. And yeah, I thought he did really well.
Yeah, he definitely did. Unfortunately, though, this is not the last episode we're talking about. We do have the finale, and I will just say right now, this was not the greatest finale. Really was not exciting to watch. I think
I will say like they did. I will say all their answers at FCC were good. It was just a very bland finale.
Yeah. Now I will say like it wasn't like horrible. And I do think any finale that follows the high that we had from 42 and how amazing Mary Ann's, FTC was always going to disappoint in comparison. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel like this finale, it just didn't really give me that sense of satisfaction and closure and just a sense of victory that I was really hoping for. I feel like unfortunately we ended the season on a whimper rather than the bang that we could have potentially ended on. But let's get into the finale. Allie's going to talk about all the stuff that happened pre-FTC. I'm going to talk about all the FTC stuff, and then we'll talk about the finale as a whole.
All right. After doing this, Jesse's feeling like a terrible person, but is so proud with how well the plan went.
Yeah, I really like seeing Jesse in this finale. Like on one hand be like, why the hell did I make this move? I'm such a terrible person, but also be like, hell yeah, I made this move. I did it for my
Yeah.
family and I'm one step closer to the end. Like
I
that's
will say he is actually very humble.
no, that's what really won me over on Jesse is that like I've said, oh, he's very cocky and things like that. He honestly isn't. I think that
No.
he is a lot more like humble and things like that. I think
He's just confident, but like in a good way.
he just plays very hard and
He
he
is
cares about the game. And I think we definitely see that.
passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely see that, especially throughout this finale.
Yeah. Gabor continued to talk about how he's hiding in plain sight and no one is looking at him. Owen sees himself as someone who has recovered from being left out of votes and now needs to kill the endgame.
Yeah.
Jesse feels the majority of the game he was playing subtle and needed to pull off the Cody move in an effort to increase his resume.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he definitely needed to do something like that.
And meanwhile, Cassie feels she got to the end without making any flashy moves.
Yeah.
Carla is happy people are seeing her as a threat. As usual,
again, I'm like, Carla, you kind of did that to yourself, but
yeah. As usual, there's a final advantage left for everyone to find. After a lot of battling, Carla is able to find the advantage.
Owen gets so close to finding it, and then Carla just takes it right then and there.
I know.
And I thought this was going to result in like Carla winning immunity, but I like that this time around it wasn't a challenge advantage. It was actually more of a clue of what the challenge was going to be. It makes it a little bit more fair in that way, and I did appreciate that.
Oh, same. Like it wasn't too crazy and
powerful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The next immunity challenge goes down, and Carla lets them know she was able to find the advantage and will be playing it for this challenge. Yeah. They each have to complete a puzzle. And ultimately, Owen is able to solve it and wins immunity and secured a spot in the final four.
Yeah, really good win for Owen once again. Was proving that, you know, he is that underdog, but he is continuing to kill the game. And I just really like seeing Owen pull off the win here.
Yeah. He also brings Cassie to indulge in the steak and baked potatoes with him. And during dinner, they discuss how big of a threat Carla is and how she needs to be the target tonight.
Which would not have happened if Carla didn't, you know, wasn't so gung-ho about targeting Cassidy. But anyway, we move on.
Know. Meanwhile, Carla pushes Cassie to Jesse, but in reality wants to vote for him.
Yeah, which I mean, at this point, definitely was like a no-brainer. Let's go for Jesse. But I feel like Carla had been so adamant about going for Cassidy at this point. The fact that she wasn't as gung-ho about pushing her, I think is what ultimately hurt her here.
It did, yeah. Angered at Carla, Cassidy spills the beans to Jesse, and who now seems conflicted over what to do, knowing Cassidy is the bigger comp threat of the two and could easily take him out. At Tribal Council, Jesse does end up playing his idol, which stuns everyone.
Oh my god, another amazing move from Jesse when he whips out the idol, and you can just, especially the look on Janine's face.
Janine's idol, like,
yeah,
insane. Like she was shocked.
Yeah, and the fact that everybody kind of like just like discarded that idol because they thought it was gone forever, but meanwhile Jesse had it. I mean, that's the kind of idol play we need to see more of. Stuff like that. Good. We don't get enough of in Survivor, I feel like.
Oh, it was amazing. This results in a live tribal where Jesse tries to convince Carla to flip the vote onto Cassidy, which is what she's on board with, but they need Gateway to get on board as well, which they fail at doing, and that results in Carla being the next person voted out.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I think that Carla definitely played a really strong game. I don't want to discredit the game that she played. I think that she was in a really good position throughout the majority of the game. She was very good at being very social. She was on top of the votes for a lot of the time, but two things really hindered her game. One was the fact that she just wasn't really good at her threat level. It was very obvious that she had the idol. She didn't really do much to try to push people against it, and it just didn't really end up working out. But then also just wanting to so badly to like target her number one, like when it's like final 7 of the game, I think really just ended up hindering her chances of winning. I legitimately do think if Carla again had not believed Sammy and would have just listened to had not believed Sammy and would have just listened, would have just trusted her instincts and recognized that like Cassidy had her back, I think she honestly could have potentially won this game. But because the way things turned out, I honestly think Carla kind of ruined, tarnished her chances of doing so. So
Yeah.
good game. Like all around, I do think Carla's a good game player. I just was very disappointed with how she played this end game.
Yeah, she was like such a good player and like from early on, and I loved her ever since, but she just played the end game really badly. Like turned on her closest ally like that. And it was just like she could have won if she didn't do that,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
she still made it really far. Great player.
Oh yeah,
Definitely a legend, and she did that.
she did. She did.
Like, I don't remember what I had her like preseason, but I definitely knew she was making it far.
She was definitely someone I think we were pretty high on preseason, from what I remember.
Yeah, like where like I was talking about like placement wise, I was just like,
Oh,
I
that I
I
don't
knew she
remember.
would make it far, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
All right. It's time for the final immunity challenge of the season, which involves trying to push a small tire through a very narrow maze and then stack as many as they can on top of each other. And
This was
ultimately,
a very stressful challenge to
that
watch.
was, oh my God, it was so intense and it gave me anxiety to watch.
Yeah.
Ultimately, with her third win of the season, Cassidy wins the final immunity, which is like, also, it was like neck and neck with her and Owen for a while, but he
Yeah.
dropped. But oh my
Yeah.
God, like Cassidy killed that and
She did.
like she deserved that win.
Oh yeah.
Owen talks about how tough this has been for him, but when he falls, he's got to get back up. And he tries to convince Cassidy to put him in a fire making challenge in an attempt to beat Jesse.
And I thought she was going to do it. But I think ultimately it came down to Owen at this point is probably the person that she's the most comfortable sitting next to. He's
Yeah.
been the most loyal to her.
Yep.
I think that's what it ultimately came down to when it came to Owen.
I think so too.
And also, I don't think she thought that he had the strongest chances at fire. So
Yeah, I agree. Jesse, meanwhile, recognizes why everyone would want him out, especially with how flashy he has been at the last two tribals, but will not be giving up, especially to help provide a future for his kids that he didn't have.
yeah.
Gabler talks about that he wants Cassidy to put him for the fire. He's playing for something bigger, and if he wins, he plans to donate the entire prize to charity and put it towards veterans in need.
Yeah, which is really the only big moment Gabler gets in this finale is that he's gonna donate all the money to charity and whatnot.
Yeah. In the end, Cassie decides to take Owen to the top to the final three, and leaving Gabler and Jesse to compete for fire. And it's very close, but ultimately, Gabler is able to build the quickest fire that has ever been made in Survivor history under 5 minutes, leaving Jesse as the final person out of the game. He is devastated and starts breaking down, thinking about how hard he's been playing for his wife and his kids, and he wanted to prove to fight as hard as he could. And while he did that, the closer he got the opportunity to plead his case and prove he played a great game was right there. And he's always had to fight his entire life because back home he doesn't have a safety net. And every day at home he feels like do or die and admits he made a wrong move, but thinks he set a great example. And everyone tries to assure him how great of a game he played.
And look, I will say this right up front. I've seen a lot of people talk about recently how fire making shouldn't be a thing. We need to get rid of fire making. And the two seasons I've watched, I've been like, no, fire making is really exciting to watch. I gotta be honest, I'm starting to get on board with that idea because this was just so devastating to watch. Jesse
it was so sad.
I'm just I imagine myself in Jesse's position where it's you just pulled off two of the biggest moves of the two biggest moves of the entire season. No doubt they were the two biggest moves of the whole season. You had such a strong chance of getting to the end. If this was a regular vote, I don't think Jesse goes by any means. No. I think Gabler easily goes here, and I think we get a very different outcome as a result.
I think so too.
But with how things were going and the fact that it was fire making and you just saw how defeated Jesse felt in this moment. I mean, I really felt for him here. This was easily one of the most
so heartbreaking,
devastating eliminations I've seen in any of the Survivor seasons that we've covered. Which isn't admittedly saying much. We've only covered 3.
I wanted Gabler gone.
Yeah, I really did too. I mean, I haven't invested in Gabler much at all this season, but also just again seeing what Jesse was able to pull off.
Yep.
And also again, just the fact that he kept reiterating like I'm doing this for my kids and things like that. And the
Yeah.
fact that he isn't able to even plead his case at the end. Yeah, I mean, I really felt for Jesse here. So
I
as much
know.
as I do enjoy watching fire making, this is one of those instances where I'm like, I don't really think we need to do it every season. I think if we did away
Yeah.
with it for a while and then kind of came back to it, maybe just do
Yeah.
a regular vote out, I think it would be
Mhm.
better because I think it prevents things like this from happening. So yeah, overall, really felt bad for Jesse here, but big turnaround on Jesse for me. Like I said, started out the season, was not a fan of him. But the more the season went on, the more I really started to like see his game and what he was doing. And by the end, I was legitimately heartbroken that he didn't get a chance to plead his case. Where I do think no matter what happened out of that four, I think Jesse absolutely wins, and it really
Oh
sucks
yeah.
that he wasn't able to plead his case.
Oh yeah, he was like definitely someone I wasn't a huge fan of preseason, but like later on I grew to love him and he's just
Oh
so
yeah,
passionate, such a great player, very
yeah,
strong, like he's super smart and very social.
yeah.
Obviously he didn't win any comps, but like
But I think that
was
makes his game even more impressive that
that
he
was more
didn't have to
impressive.
win any comps.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's one of the best players like this season and like he really
He is the
killed.
best player this season, I think.
Oh, yeah. Best player of the season for sure, like, he got 4th.
Yeah.
So, sadly, he didn't make it to the end, but, I mean, I'm still proud of him, but it was still very devastating to watch.
Yeah, I think for sure, and make no mistake, like when we look back at Survivor 43, I think Jesse's going to be the first name that comes to mind. Like with the
Oh,
moves he was able
probably.
to pull off, and especially this, I think he definitely really deserves the title of like this is the face of Survivor 43, and it just sucks that he wasn't able to plead his case. But anyway,
I
we're going to
know.
get into FTC here. We do get a little moment with the jury beforehand where basically they talk about how everyone sees to see Gabler's game as enigmatic. It's very hard to tell like what he was really doing, which I mean, yeah, I've kind of felt that way myself, but impressive he was able to do socially with such a young cast. Owen fought very hard, and that Cassidy was kind of the dark horse that they never saw as big of a threat as she really was. So we get to the FTC here, and I'm not going to lie, I was very let down by the FTC. And look, I like two of the people that were here. I have not been a big fan of Gabler at all throughout this season, but I've liked Cassidy and I liked Owen. But it really dawned on me that this was just a really bland final three.
It
Like
was, like,
of
I mean,
the
um, it was just, like, how it played out, like, it was just,
yeah,
like, a really boring finale. It wasn't, like,
I really just
anything
feel
bad.
like the games that these three played, none of them were like terribly exciting. There wasn't really a lot for them to go through. There wasn't a lot to really reveal. Very like cut and dry for some of them. Just wasn't terribly exciting to watch, especially because a lot of them were just kind of repeating the same answers. So
Yeah.
really not that exciting of a final tribal, but we will try to breeze through it as much as we possibly
Like,
can.
I will say they all explained their answers well,
Well, they
it's just
did.
it
They
was just bland.
did. It just comes down to the fact that their games just weren't that great. They weren't that
Yeah.
exciting.
Just
So,
very simple games.
very much, yeah. I
You
think
know,
that's
I
a
was
very much
obviously
the way
rooting
to
for
put it.
Cassidy, but
Even Cassidy's game, I don't think is like that earth shattering. Like, oh my
yeah.
God, Cassidy killed it. Like,
Well, yeah.
yes, I think my enjoyment with Cassidy is more from like I really enjoyed watching her than, oh my God, she
Mhm.
played this amazing game. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with her overall.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we head to the FTC, and basically Noel asked the first question how they all differentiate their game from the others. And Gabler says his game has been relationship based and trust based. And at some point, he was in an alliance with all of them, but he was never seen because he was talking behind the scenes with all the alliances. He had multiple ways of getting deeper into the game, and it led to no one writing his name down once the entire game, which I will say that is impressive. That is impressive that he was
That
able
is
to do
impressive.
that. Um, I'll get more into why I'm not that satisfied with Gabler's game overall, though. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Cassidy says that she always felt like she had her fingers on the pulse the entire game, and the only person who can also say that is Jessie, and had strong bonds with Carla and James, but realized if she went to the end that they would beat her, and with the women purging early on the season, her being the last one standing is a feat in itself. I thought this was easily her best answer. Really summed up her
Oh, yeah.
game very well.
It
She
was
talked
great.
about, the people that she was close to, and also how she was able to, get past all the constant, booting of women and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
It was a really good answer for her, for sure. Summed up her game very well. Owen talks about how disastrous Baca was and how he was nearly the first boot, and this carried over to the merge and had to fight and claw his way to the end, and very much is the underdog of the season. And I do think Owen's game is very impressive because of
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but again, admittedly, didn't really have a lot to say besides that. So James asked Owen when Owen stuck his neck on the line for an ally to get them to stay. And Noelle basically answers this question for him. She mentions that she used her seal vote to get him out, and she saw that as a reason to stick with him. And he brings up how much he viewed James and Carla, and he knew Noelle was his shot at making it happen. And Gabler then mentions how Ellie called him out for playing such a big game, and he needed to go underwater, or as he calls it, the Gabler. He mentions himself as that multiple times, and he started to play a different, more unnoticed game.
Yeah.
Carla then asked Cassidy to name one specific move she made pre-merge to get to where she is, and she mentioned how much she trusted her and James and how they were able to take control, starting with the Lindsay vote. Carla definitely seemed bitter at Cassidy here the
I
entire
know.
FTC. I didn't understand why she asked her this question, because like she should know that Cassidy did a lot pre-merge, especially because it
Is it
involved.
that I don't even really remember Lindsay that much?
Oh, I don't either. It kind of sucks, but yeah.
Like, didn't hate her or anything. Just
No,
like
but she was
I don't
very
really
irrelevant.
remember.
Jesse asked when they use their social relationships to get information in the game and how they use it to get ahead. Gabler mentions once again how because of his social game and the information he was getting, he was able to get deeper in the game with more options. Again, like I said, a lot of repeating of answers here.
Yeah.
Cassie talks about how well positioned she was, and she was also, and this I thought was really impressive for Cassidy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She said she made a mental checklist of everyone who was gunning for her at least once, and she had to get them out at least once because basically she saw it as like, you're coming for me once. That's really like all I need to, want to come for you. I thought this helped explain her game very well. Janine asks Owen and Gabler who their closest allies were. Owen mentions how close he and Noelle got after they both went to the summit, and then got close with Jesse and Cassidy and went to the Final Four with them. Gabler mentions how at the end of the day, his allegiance was to the Ride or Die Alliance, which I forgot about this alliance. He keeps mentioning it. I literally forgot it was a thing. Cassidy calls him out and asks that if only happened because people didn't perceive him as a threat or just because he played it so well. And the jury's commending him on how well he was able to make them feel safe. And as a result, no one really perceived him as a threat. This is really my issue with Gabler's game. I don't think his game is one where it's like, oh, Gabler did such a great job socially, nobody saw him as a threat. I really just think there were bigger fish to fry, and Gabler was kind of easily able to slide by because of it. So that's why I just don't think his game is all that impressive in retrospect. Like, I think there are definitely things he did that he did well, but beyond like what he did with Ellie, for example, there just isn't a lot that Gabler did where he was like really instrumental in things, So yeah, I just really wasn't that impressed, and I kind of agreed with what Cassidy was saying here. So Ryan mentions how dominant the three of them were at physical challenges, and Cassidy says she never intended to be a physical threat, but winning that first one gave her the boost to continue winning, and the final one being the most important. Noelle mentions how her real occupation and commends Cassidy on winning the immunity challenges. She also asks her why she didn't, and this really pissed me off because this seemed like this was like the answer that they needed in order to, really justify why Cassidy should win the game. She asked her why she didn't put herself in fire and instead chose Gabler to make the biggest move of the game. And Cassidy says up to that point, she thought she played well. She won that immunity fairly and deserved to be here, but also felt it was a strategic decision and
Oh
not
yeah.
a chance because he had the underdog story and chose Gabler knowing he was the best at fire and didn't know it would be enough to beat her in the end. And listen, I adore Noelle, but I don't understand why this was even that important.
Oh yeah, that kind of annoyed me.
Like you really want Cassidy to go into fire when she's just won, potentially getting herself out. I feel like that's way worse than choosing the person that you think could do the best in getting your target out. And I feel like the fact that Cassidy chose that person, she should be credited for that. I don't know why Gabler gets the credit for that just because, oh, he's the person who, got Jesse into fire. Like that logic doesn't make sense.
He didn't even get him into fire. Oh my god.
He just was able to build the fire faster than him. Like that's literally all he was able to do.
Literally, he didn't do anything else.
Yeah, like that's like saying on Big Brother, oh, because I chose this person to win veto, they get the credit and I don't, even though I chose them to win the veto. Like that's not how it works,
No,
like that's just not how it works at all. And I don't understand why this was like such a big deal. Like I remember on Twitter, a lot of people were complaining about why Noelle asked this question. And I very much agree with that. I just don't understand the relevance of this.
Why? What the hell kind of question?
It really just felt like it really just felt like they, for some reason, were just like really high on Gabler's game, that they just didn't really feel like Cassidy's game was that great in comparison. When me, at least, I see as the complete opposite. I think Cassidy's game was really strong, and I think Gabler's game was not that great, honestly. And I think
he didn't have that great of a game.
No, he really didn't. So Carla asked them all to mention a moment they had to fight until they couldn't any longer. Owen mentions the final 5 clue and how close he was to getting it, and then Carla snagged it from him, but he then ended up winning immunity, and it was representative of the highs and lows in the game. Owen also regrets getting angry at James, but he tried not to gloat if he pulled off a blindside. Carla then asked them their biggest mistake. Gabler mentions the very first challenge and how he basically told them to vote him out, which, I'll be honest, if I was on the jury, that is enough of a reason to lose my vote. The fact that you first round said vote me out and you're still here.
Sorry. That's just a red flag.
Yeah, like that, you've lost me there. But Cassidy mentions that her biggest mistake was the last conversation she had with Carla and wishes she handled it better. And this should have been enough of a reason for Carla to switch her vote. Like this should have been the reason where Carla's like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Cassidy here. And again, I'm not saying like Carla needed to vote for Cassidy. I just felt like Carla in general seemed like she was like not happy with Cassidy here. And, I think this should have been the moment where Carla realized that Cassidy really did have her back at the end of the day. So Owen says it's hard for him because he had such a roller coaster ride of a game, but the journey he's been on has been so valuable to him, but he does regret a few conversations that he had. So Jesse also takes the time to mention that his PhD was in political science. Political science. And he has taken extensive time to study votes and elections, and he wants to know when they persuaded somebody to vote the way they needed him to vote. Gabler mentions the Ellie vote and how he was able to push how untrustworthy she was, which again, he's already mentioned this. And then Cassidy mentions Ryan and then gets discredited for this again. They mention how this wasn't her move because Gabler, Cody, and Jesse already had a plan to vote him out if James was going to be on the jury, and that she would have been out if James wasn't. But I feel like Cassidy should still get some credit for that because Cassidy wanted Ryan out. Cassidy was... And in fact, if I remember correctly, when it was between Ryan and Gio, Cassidy wanted it to be Ryan at first. So she was planting the seed for Ryan to go. And this was the moment where she was finally able to get it done. So yeah, even though those three had it in their minds, I do think Cassidy should still get some credit here. I just was really annoyed how often Cassidy's game was being discredited because I did
not like that.
I just don't think it was deserved. Like, it'd be different if Cassidy was talking about things in the game that didn't happen, but everything she said is what happened. And I just don't understand why the jury just didn't see through it. it didn't make sense to me. So that was quite frustrating. But Cody and basically, Owen mentions he never really spearheaded anything because he didn't have a power idol to play, but showed he had strategic play and a key part of many votes. And then we don't get a final speech from them. It was very weird. We go right from questions right to voting. Yeah, for some reason they didn't do a final
Yeah, I
speech
don't
or
know why.
anything. It was, I'm well,
Unless they just wanted to like get it done and out of the way.
well, I assume that they did and they just didn't show it because I think I read
Oh,
something where it's like, no,
maybe.
they did do a final speech and they for some reason just didn't show it. And that's annoying if that's the case because I
They should
feel
at
like
least like show them to us.
well, I feel like the final speech is very important because it sums up like how they perceive their game. Like we've seen like what the jury's asking them, but how do they overall perceive their game? What did they
Yeah,
do to
exactly.
get here? And I feel like not having that makes it honestly very hard to assess this FTC. The fact that we
Mhm.
didn't even get to see the final speeches. But my general thoughts on the FTC performances, I do think all three of them did pretty well. I will say
Yeah,
that.
oh yeah.
I don't think
I
any
will
of them
say
like
like the performances I'd probably rate like an 8 out of 10.
yeah, like I don't think anyone like fumbled the FTC. I just
No, not
don't
at
think
all.
that these games were necessarily the most interesting.
No.
I
They were
think that
just like obviously Cassie had the best game in my
oh yeah,
opinion
for sure.
out of the final 3, but
Yeah.
like none of them were like super amazing.
Yeah, like if like a Jesse or a Cody, even again, if Carla
Yeah.
was able to be here, which I think she definitely would have if she would have done things differently in that end game, I think this would have been a much more interesting FTC, but
Mhm. Oh,
unfortunately,
yeah.
the fact that they're not here,
Honestly, a final 3 of like a Cody, Jesse, Cassie would be interesting too.
that would have been good. I would have liked to see that, especially because like Cassidy and Jesse played very similar games, but
Yeah.
Jesse definitely like did more
Oh,
like
yeah.
power moves than Cassidy. It would have been interesting to see like how they're able to kind of, especially when we look at like Noel's question, like how are they able
Yeah.
to differentiate it? It would have been interesting to see that, but
Mhm.
unfortunately, we didn't really get that. So we
Yeah.
get to the vote here, and it's very shocking with the
Yep.
way this vote ends up turning out because if you were to watch this FTC, you would think, okay, Cassidy's clearly answering stuff the best. She's explaining her game very well. Even though her game is clearly not being seen in a positive way, it seems like she's doing what she can to really like advocate for herself.
Yeah.
But that's not what ends up happening. We get to the vote, and in a vote of 7-1-0, Cassidy only ends up getting one vote from James.
Yep.
Owen receives no votes, which means Gabler somehow has won Survivor
What?
43.
Like, what? I will say, though, also the moment where, Cassie said to James, "Did you vote for me?" and they hugged, that was really cute.
Oh, yeah, that was great. James was loyal up until the end. And
Yep.
look, I don't want this to turn into Kevin's anti-Carla, things like that. That's not what we're doing here at all. I just
But she should have
really
voted for her.
I just really felt like Carla's reasoning didn't make sense. Her reasoning for voting Gabler was you owned up your game, you were honest through and through and things like that. And I honor honesty and like you were able to be honest in the game of Survivor. But I don't think Cassidy like did any lying like in this
No.
FTC. Cassidy
No, she
admitted
didn't.
to Carla that she was going to like she should have handled things differently. It would have been different if Cassidy said to Carla, I did what I needed to do. I don't have any regrets. If she would have said that, then okay, I understand why Carla doesn't vote for her. But the
Mhm.
fact that she said to Carla, like, I wish I handled things differently with you, and like I wanted to, like, I work closely with you and things like that, um, shows that Carla was a key piece in her game, and that should have been enough of a reason for Carla to vote for her rather than Gabler, who she really wasn't that aligned with the entire game. I just didn't really quite
Yeah.
understand it. But I mean, I'm not necessarily saying Carla has to vote for Gabler. I was just very surprised that she didn't vote for
Yeah,
Cassidy.
same.
So
Like, I was just thinking she would.
yeah, Gabler winning here again, it just isn't a very satisfying ending.
No,
And
it's
there's a
not.
couple
Like,
reasons
especially
why.
after the last season.
Oh yeah. Now he does mention how again he's gonna be donating the entire prize to like the Green
Yeah.
Berets in honor of his father, which is all really sweet. We like
I
that.
will say that was really nice. I really like that.
Yeah, that was a nice moment. But I think really what I want to say when it comes to Gabler winning is for me, this is not a satisfying win. And it's
No.
not just because I wasn't a fan of Gabler. I just feel like the way people complained about Erica in 41 is how I feel about Gabler, where it's like there was no point in the season where I feel like Gabler was edited in a way where it felt like this is the winner. He's going to win the game, against all odds. He is hiding in plain sight. People just aren't seeing it. I just never saw Gabler as an actual threat. I saw him as a
Same.
0 vote finalist pretty
I
much
did
the entire
too.
game.
He made
Like
to be.
I had a feeling Gabler was getting to the end. In no version of this whatsoever did I actually think he was going to end up winning, let
Oh,
alone
same.
be a nearly unanimous winner. Like I would have never seen that happening in my life. And the
Ugh.
fact that we're here, I just really am not satisfied by. If they would have edited this in such a way to where Gabler gets a lot more content and we're able to really get insight into his game and really get an idea of what he's doing and getting more people on his side. And we could see moments of people saying like, Gabler's really winning me over here. Gabler's not a big threat and things like that. But we just didn't see a lot of that. What did we see? We saw people propping up Jesse's game. We saw people talking about how Cassidy wasn't a really big threat. We saw people talking about how Owen was somebody that, they liked, but they saw that he wasn't always on the right side of the votes. We didn't see a lot about Gabler. If we did, it was just a couple moments every episode. So as a whole, I just don't think this is a very satisfying win. And again, I will say, as a person, I'm not a big fan of Gabler, especially things he has said after the
same.
season.
Oh, no, I'm not a fan of him like that either.
Regardless of that, taking that out of the equation, and just focusing on the gameplay alone, I just really don't think it's that interesting of a game. I think Gabler was somebody who was in a good position because of the fact that, yes, he was able to do some of that himself, but there were always bigger players in front of him and they were just more interesting to watch. So yeah, overall, I'm just really not that
I did not
satisfied.
expect him to win.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, like what I'm saying about Gabler applies to a lot of players this season. I just felt like there was a disconnect with a lot of people this season where it's like, I want to like this person. I really want to like root hard for them, but it was hard because it didn't really feel like they gave us that window into their like, into their like insight that we needed. And I just felt like even though I like players, like for example, like a Sammy, like a Cody, can I really say like I know their entire game? I can say for sure what they did. Not really. I think that there was a disconnect there. And I just wish that they were able to edit this season a little bit better because I just felt like that was kind of missing this season. The personal connections, it just wasn't there for me this season. And overall, I end the season.
The only one I like really personally connected with is Cassidy.
Cassidy
and then also like Noelle too.
Cassidy, Jesse, and Noelle, I would say for me are like the three.
Actually, those three.
Yeah, I would say those three are like the ones.
Also, kind of Cody too, just because he was fun.
Yeah, Cody was fun. I was a big fan of Carla throughout most of the season. But I do think that she definitely went a bit downhill for me towards the end. But really looking back on the season as a whole, I don't think I'm gonna remember it all that much. I think there are moments that I will remember.
It's more of a forgettable season.
Yeah, it's a very forgettable season. Like it's not terrible. It's not one that's like, this is like, we don't speak of this season or anything like that. We don't speak of this win. This is a very odd win, and I don't necessarily want to speak of this win.
I don't either.
But as a season as a whole, I don't think it's that bad. It really is just
awful.
It really is just not one I'm going to hold in very high regard. And I think, especially coming off of
middle of the road season.
Yeah, especially coming off of 42, I think this was a really big disappointment for me. I was really hoping that we would get to see another group that I just really end up falling in love with and a really, a lot of interesting gameplay going on. But aside from like the one move that Jesse pulled off in episode 12, there just wasn't like that big moment for me where I was like, oh my God, this just happened. Or also Noelle's win. That was another really great moment.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Those are like the two things I'm probably going to remember from this season. Everything else is probably going to fade from my memory. almost instantly. So yeah, as a whole, I'm just not really that big on this season. If I had to grade it, I'd probably give it like a C plus. I
Yeah,
don't think it's
same.
like
C plus.
completely.
I was torn between C plus and B minus, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking C plus.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. 41, I wasn't huge on either, but even that season, the cast for me was more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
This time around, I just felt like a lot of these people weren't as interesting as I wanted them to be. And the people that I was like really rooting for didn't end up making it to the end. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with Survivor 43. Very
Same.
forgettable season, but at least we
Middle
finally wrapped it
road.
up.
Woo! We finally got that done.
Yes, we finally got it done, but we're not done yet. We still have one last order of business that we need to take care of.
Assessment and draft.
Yes, because believe it or not, even though we just talked about Survivor 43, there is another season that will literally be starting in less than a week. And we need to go ahead and do our little cast assessment and talk about, our predictions for the cast this season, which I will say already, this cast is looking a lot stronger than the one we got for 43. I like this cast a lot more. I think they're a much more diverse group.
I agree.
I don't see a lot of what's going to happen in this season happening this time. I don't think we're going to get like women going back to back and things like that. Which before we do that, hold on. We gotta transition things a bit here. Oh, there we go. 44. We're in 44 mode. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. As usual, we're gonna go down the list of each of these players, and then we're also gonna do a little draft as we go along. But we're gonna start off with the first person here. Which I sent you the link so you can read along and not have to just read off my screen. But we're going to go ahead and get started here with the first person. So the first person we're talking about is Claire.
Oh, yes. I liked her a lot, like, so far from what I've heard.
Well, you want to read her stuff? Because you seem really excited.
Okay. This is Claire. She's 25 from Highland Park, Illinois. Is that supposed to be Illinois? Yeah.
I think.
She currently resides in Brooklyn, New York. She's a tech investor. She's energetic, motivated, and cunning. Why does she want to be part of Survivor? It's been her dream since she was 4. She's very consistent and motivating, as like with Survivor. It's changed the way she approaches the world, and she's been playing Survivor her whole life. Why not try? Oh yeah, isn't she the Orger?
Oh yeah.
Slay.
Yeah, I think I did hear that. We love that.
Yes, we love that. And what's one life experience you feel has prepared you? Growing up as a queer Black Jewish woman, I have always been the odd one out. I feel like I've been playing a social strategic game of Survivor my whole life to fit in, succeed, and reach my goals.
I already love her story.
Oh, same. Which previous player do you identify with the most, and who do you think you will play the most like? I identify most with Michelle Fitzgerald. I love her social game and how she used people's perceptions of her against them. I think I'll play most like Natalie Anderson in Blood versus Water. She doesn't take bullshit from anyone, and I know and knew how and when to make a move, which is great choices. Love them.
Oh, yeah.
What will you value in an alliance partner? Loyalty over everything. I'd also love someone who appears to be a bigger threat, so I can use them as a shield and puppet without them realizing. Hobbies, eating, drinking, and sleeping. I also love traveling and going to concerts and music festivals. Anything to make me feel alive. Hey, me. Love that. I love music festivals and concerts. Pet peeves. People who lack self-awareness. Honestly, you can do whatever you want as long as you recognize it and own it. Tea.
Oh, yeah.
What is the accomplishment you are most proud of? When COVID hit, my first year out of college, I led my office in a fundraiser to raise $150,000 in 2 weeks for the NYC community. Something we would never know from looking at her. I listen to the Hunger Games audiobook every night to fall asleep. I'm also the biggest musical nerd. Oh, Queen.
She won me over. She won me over with that.
Yes. Also, when are we doing the draft? Are we doing it during or?
Yeah, I'm making it right now as we speak.
Okay, I'm gonna pick her as my first pick.
I had a feeling. That's why I'm getting it. I'm getting it ready. But fuck you for that, first of all. But anyway, keep going.
Wait, I just realized I didn't put us on the randomizer. Never. It's not a big deal.
That doesn't matter.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just the two of us. Who in your life is your biggest
Yeah, it's just
inspiration
the
and
two of us
why?
this time.
Her mom's her biggest inspiration. She is the most selfless, patient, and loving person I know. She is the embodiment of a survivor and has seized every opportunity to give me and my siblings a better life. I could go on for pages. I love that woman. And why she'll be the sole survivor. I'll do whatever it takes to win. I've got the strategic knowledge and social skills to get me where I need to go. I'm also easy to underestimate, and these people won't see me coming till my knife is in their back. Ugh, I love her.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of her as well. I think that she,
Yeah.
well, since you picked her as your draft pick, you can go. There.
Honestly, I get really good high hopes for her. She kind of gives me like I feel like she's gonna be like a Carla, kind of like make it really far, but also I can see her like
Yeah,
definitely making it to the end. Either she's
yeah.
getting to the end or she's gonna get really far, kind of like Carla. But
Now let's hope
I
she
can
doesn't make
see her.
the bad move that Carla did, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
I know. I definitely see her being like I can definitely see her being like a Natalie and a Michelle. Like Michelle, obviously, like they both won. Um,
Yeah,
like I feel like if she gets to the end, she'll definitely win. But I can see her being a triple threat for sure, and I have really high hopes for her, and I'm
yeah,
very excited. And she's just such an iconic queen already, and like the
yeah. I
empowerment of
really like her a lot. She seems
inspiring.
very, yeah, she seems very like resilient and someone who is really just not going to stop fighting. She's not going to let anybody get her down, and she's always going to be in there trying to fight as hard as she can. But she also has that more like sentimental part of herself who, likes musicals and has a lot of things, and her Hunger Games and things like that. She has a lot of things that people are going to be able to relate to, and I think that's going to work out really well for her. I also really like her story a lot, where she talks about like she's kind
Same.
of been fighting her entire life, so
Oh yeah.
she already has that kind of like cutthroat mentality, and I think she's going to get very far because of it. So I also have very high hopes for her, but unfortunately, I do not get
Her
to
story is
draft.
so
So,
amazing. Sorry.
yeah, but yeah,
Wait, what'd you do?
yeah, really. Oh, you can't hear. Oh, can you not hear what I'm saying?
I think you cut out.
Hello.
Hello?
Oh, I said I really like her story as well, but unfortunately I don't get to draft her. But
I mean,
we
unless
move on. But yeah, I almost said Carla. Like Claire a lot. I think she's going to definitely be one to watch out for, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of impact she has on the game. But anything else you want to say about Claire before we move on to the next person?
I feel like she's gonna be someone that people really like draw towards, like her story and just
Yeah,
her personality. I feel like she's really gonna be very likable and she's just inspiring and amazing already.
very much so. All right, so we move on to our next
Well,
person here, which we have Matt.
let's not do a snake draft this time. Let's just do like one pick each. Like go back and forth.
Yeah, it's I mean it's literally just us, so like yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Instead of a
I'm
snake
just
draft, we're doing
deleting.
two. So like I'll pick one and then you pick one and then I'll pick one and then yeah.
Yeah, do it that way. Um,
Yeah.
okay. So I already have. Where's Claire? There she is. I already have Claire for yours. Okay, so we're gonna move on to our next person. We have Matt. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh my computer because I think my internet's being weird. So I'll be right
Oh
back.
no. Okay. Hello. Sadly no one's watching right now, but maybe people are just like it's probably just because it's late and everything. But hopefully you guys watch this and enjoy our podcast. And I'm just so happy we're back because I miss doing this a lot. But we've obviously just been super busy and everything. So we're finally getting back on track with our podcast and with reality shows and everything. And lots of stay tuned for a lot of things coming up. Very excited. And it's gonna be really fun. And I'm very excited about this cast and to like read more bios because I haven't really read many of the bios, just like a very few on Twitter and stuff. But so I'm excited to like read through everybody's and just do this draft. But yeah, Claire is definitely someone I was like really drawn towards early on. Oh, hi. I was just talking to our no viewers right now.
Oh, okay. That's fun. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next person here.
Okay, Matt Blankenship.
Yes, I'm gonna read.
There's actually it's funny because there's a regular at work whose name is James Blankenship.
Oh, wonder. Well, I mean, he's from Albany, California, so I don't think they're the same person at all.
No.
Unless he has a brother that lives in California. That we don't know.
For sure.
But yeah, anyway, in all seriousness, he is 27. He is a security software engineer. He's joyful, empathetic, and persistent. He wants to be on Survivor. He's wanted to be on Survivor for 10 years ago. He told everyone that he would listen, that he was made for Survivor. When it came to applying, he kind of chickened out. But now he wants to close the loop on this unfinished business, and he's very excited for the opportunity. He says one life experience that has prepared him for the game is failing at stuff, failing to get a job into college, into Survivor. Oh, I feel this very much. In all those cases, he had to pick himself up and try again. And I think the best survivors are defined by how they respond to setbacks. Yes, I like that a lot. Previous player he identifies, he talks about Yule and says that he wants to combine the listening consensus building strengths of Yule, but also the goofiness and youthful energy of Marianne. You say you're a Marianne fan, I'm automatically on board. So he says in an alliance partner, he wants someone that is he says riding coattails are over. Everyone's too good at the game. So he wants someone that he can generally connect with, who he can frankly and openly discuss ways to mutually benefit. His favorite hobbies are taiko, music, and running. He doesn't like it when people interrupt other people. He's very proud of running a marathon, and that he doesn't like peanut butter, apparently. That's something that we were looking at him. So he's not a fan of peanut butter. So whenever the PB&J reward comes up, that's not a challenge that Matt is going to be very excited to participate.
He's like, I'm just gonna sit out or just
he's gonna be like, this is not my challenge. Anyone else can take this. Imagine that's how he loses the game. He's just I didn't want the PB&J, so
that'd be so funny.
But the biggest inspiration in life, he talks about his parents and how they like inspired him, which is really sweet. And then he says he'll be the sole survivor because he has the goofy grin and a strategic brain. With an ultra-competitive hot streak, he thinks he'll be the last one standing. I like this guy. I think he has the potential to go kind of far. If I had to predict right now, I see this guy like middle jury. That's kind of where I see him. I don't think he's going to be a pre-juror because I think he says that he's very likable. He says he is very goofy and things like that. That's something that people are going to want to keep around, and I think that's going to work out really well for somebody like Matt. But I also think that his the way that he talks about failing, especially, is really going to strike a chord with people. I think the fact that he's not going to, he's not going to give up. He's always going to try to keep fighting. I think that's something that I really respect. When it comes to Matt. So I mean, I think he's going to do pretty well. I don't have too incredibly high hopes for him, but I think he definitely has potential to go pretty far. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a chill guy. I don't have a lot to say about him, but I see him either being like maybe like a 7th, 8th place kind of thing, or like
maybe, that's kind of where I view him as well.
Or like
he probably goes in like the double.
Yeah, or like maybe right before merge, but like I don't see him being like an early boot. But
or maybe he's. I don't think he's the merge boot, but I could see him going before merge.
Yeah, I see him just being very likable, but like I don't know, nothing crazy. Just I don't have the highest hopes for him, but I definitely don't see him winning.
Yeah,
I don't see him like leaving super early either.
no, me
But
either.
yeah, he seems cool. Like hopefully he does well.
Yeah. But I think that's all. Is that all we really want to say about Matt? I'm not drafting him, by the way. So, like, not yet. Maybe later, but not
Yeah,
yet.
same.
I'm not going to draft someone until I'm like, I want this person.
Who
Like,
is your
that's,
first pick going to be?
I don't know. Let's see. But anything else you want to say about Matt before we move on?
His hair looks like Matt Bennett.
I kind of see that actually. Yeah, I agree. Maybe he'll be hosting iParties with him,
Hey,
but
we have two viewers.
maybe if Matt wins Survivor, he'll use it to host an iParty with Matt Bennett. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah,
we will see if that
honestly.
happens. That's definitely going to be like
Should we
his
just
goal.
call honestly, should we just call him Matt Bennett for the whole season? That'd be funny.
Sure, we'll go ahead and do that.
Or
Even
Robbie
though
Shapiro.
that'd be funny. But yeah, let's move on to the next person. I think that's all we have to
Right.
say about Matt.
Okay.
Let's talk about Carolyn. Talk to us a little bit about Carolyn, Allie.
Okay. Carolyn is 35. She's from North St. Paul, Minnesota, but currently resides in Hugo. She's a drug counselor. She's
Oh wow.
passionate, a little bit too loud, a little bit loud and open.
Mm.
And why do you want to be part of Survivor? I want to share my story. I want to bring hope. Addiction looks different for everybody, and recovery does too. Survivor is so much more than a game to me. It's the human interactions, the growth, and the fun. Of course, I want to be a part of that. One life experience she feels has prepared her. Overcoming my addiction and learning how to forgive, love, and accept myself. Active addiction is mental and emotional torture. It took me years to realize my mistakes don't define me. I've worked hard to become this person I am proud of. I know this game will break me down, but I am strong, resilient, and most importantly, I believe in myself. Previous players she identifies with and who she wants to play like. I so badly want to be like, yeah, I'm going to be as strategic as Kely Wentworth and cutthroat like Parvati. But that isn't happening because I am way more Nora. My entire life, I've been told that I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm too loud, too much. It has been my dream to play this game as myself, and Marianne is a proof that it can be done. I want to have fun like Tiffany, be lovable like Marianne, and free spirited and spontaneous like Nora.
Mm.
What will you value in an alliance partner? I know this is a game, but we are human first. My alliances will go deeper than strategy because my bonds will be real. I value authentic connections and interactions. My alliance goal would be something like the beautiful bond between Shannon and Liana or the partnership of Christian and Gabby, pre-merge though. Hobbies, gardening, ice skating, and rescuing bunnies. Her pet peeves when people ask me if I'm sick or if I'm not wearing makeup. People who make fun of what is different from them or what they don't understand, and gel polish that chips quickly. What is the accomplishment you are most proud of? Staying sober for the last 13 years and raising my son in recovery. Aw. What is something we would never know? I eat so much candy, it's ridiculous. I've had 3 crowns because I keep cracking my teeth from Jawbreakers and atomic fireballs.
Oof,
I've
not the
fallen asleep.
fireballs.
Oh my god. I've fallen asleep eating chocolate too many times to count. And her biggest inspiration are her mom and dad. And her mom is the most selfless person she knows. She's her rock and never hesitates to help her, even when her own needs are pushed aside. Her dad dropped out of school and joined the circus. He decided to turn his life around, and so he went back to school, got a law degree, and was elected into the Senate. He believed in her when she didn't believe in herself and pushed her to do better no matter what. And to be the sole survivor because my authentic connections will win me the game. So,
I
what do
don't
you
know
think
about her.
about
I'll
it?
be honest. I'm very worried when it comes to Carolyn. I think that I
Yeah.
will say she definitely seems very passionate and excited, but
Yeah.
her saying she has this big, loud personality and people
Mhm.
tell her she's like too much and things like that. I see her being a pre-jury. I don't see her getting super far. And if she does, I think she'll
Uh-huh.
end up being like an Ellie where she plays too hard and
Mhm.
people
I
start to
can
like
see that.
see through it. I just I just don't have very high hopes for her. I think that she's definitely going to be like entertaining to watch for sure, but I don't think she's going to be necessarily good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do feel like, yeah, I don't really have high hopes for her either. She's definitely, I don't see her being first boot, but I see her
Oh
being
no,
like,
no, no,
I see her
no.
being like an early boot because she's either too loud, too talkative, but I
Yeah.
also see her bonding with certain people too, like with her story and stuff. So maybe
Mhm.
they'll find her inspiring, but it's really hard to say. I feel right now I give like maybe fourth boot vibes.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly
like
where I see
she
her.
seems like, yeah, she seems very passionate and um very passionate, very compassionate as well, very like strong, but like I just don't see her going that far. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with her as well. So, anything else you want to say about Carolyn before we move on to the next person?
No,
All right, so we move on here
not really.
to we move
Oh,
on to
iconic.
somebody I'm very excited to talk about, and I will tell you right now,
Same.
my first draft pick is Yam Yam.
You're gonna pick him?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh
I had
yeah,
a
I'll
feeling.
tell you. Yeah, he is 36. He's from Puerto Rico. Currently resides in San Juan, Puerto Rico. He is a salon owner. He says that he is fun, loud, and caring. And he says that he wants to be part of Survivor because it is his lifelong dream of playing the best game in the world. He's been watching since the first episode when he was 13 years old, and he wants to prove that he has the physical and mental strength to make his dreams come true and win the title and money. His life experience he's feel prepared for after the game. He talks about how after Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, he had no power in his house or work for 90 days, and he had to load his team of 20 plus adults, most that were older than him, and give them hope when he felt he had none. Without them, he would not be who he is today. The previous player that he identifies with the most is Suri, which we love. He says that
Oh,
she's super
Sam.
intelligent and a strategy genius, and he hopes to emulate her and win. He
Aw.
says in an alliance partner, he wants intelligence and commitment. He needs to play with intelligent people that go far with him. Favorite hobbies are taking care of his plants, going to the beach with his husband, hanging out with his girlfriends, and traveling. Accomplishment he's most proud of is leading a team of cool people, following the steps of his mother, and being married to his husband and creating a home. But also, of course, getting on Survivor. Something we wouldn't know about him from looking at him is that he loves to do bearded drag at Halloween.
Oh wow.
His biggest inspiration in his life is his mom, and he says that he will be a sole survivor. He wants to be the sole survivor because the stars have aligned for him. It's his time, and because of his social game. I fucking love this guy. I think he is going to
Same.
be such a fun presence throughout the season. Just the clip alone that we got at the end of the Survivor 44 clip where he's like, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see Jeff and all this stuff. It's like his energy is infectious. Like you feel that Yam Yam is one of those people where when he speaks, you feel everything that he is feeling. I already get that vibe from him. I think he's going to give us so many fun, like confessionals and things
Oh
like
yeah.
that. But I also think because he has that just like really fun personality, people are going to gravitate towards him easily. And so if Yam Yam wants to make a big move and be a bit more villainous, people aren't going to see him as such. And I think that's going to work out really well for him because of that. So yeah, I am very high on Yam Yam. I see him going very far, potentially making it all the way to the end. I don't know if he is my winner pick, but he's definitely somebody that I am very excited to see play this season. Have been a big fan of his since we saw that like clip in the trailer, and I was just very much
Same.
looking forward
He's so
to
good.
talking about him in the cast assessment. So yeah, he for sure is my first draft pick. Sorry.
Honestly, like, okay, I don't see winner vibes from him, but I do see him making it really far, at least like top 4, maybe. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I can see him making it to the end, but or
Yeah.
at least top 4, top 5. But I kind of get also like runner up vibes from him.
Mhm.
But I will say he also kind of gives me like the Frank from the Circle vibes. Like I feel like he's just gonna be
Oh
really
yeah. That's a
like
good way to
really
describe him.
like I can see them both because like Frank was really funny. I see him being really funny like him.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to watch him play. And I think, yeah, his confessionals are gonna probably be really iconic, really
Yeah.
great, and funny and silly.
Yeah. They
And
both seem really like laid back as
yeah.
well.
Oh yeah. So I think he's gonna be really fun to watch and very entertaining. So I hope so. I hope he doesn't go early.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited to watch him.
Listen,
He's gonna be so
I've
good.
had really good luck with winner picks in Survivor. He's not my winner pick, but he is my first draft pick. So, and I've had really good luck with those draft picks. So, high hopes for Yam
Wait,
Yam. High hopes.
wait, there's how many? 18 or 19?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
18.
18.
Okay, 18. Okay.
So we each
So
get 9.
yo, we get 9. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So that's everything we need to say about Yam Yam. Let's move on
Excited.
to our next person here, which is
Okay.
Lauren. Tell us a little bit about Lauren.
All right. Lauren Harp is 31. She's from Port Arthur, Texas, but she currently resides in Mont Belvieu.
All right.
And she's an elementary school teacher. She's personable, resistant, and adaptable. She wants to be part of Survivor because it's not only the experience of a lifetime, but an opportunity for self-growth and discovery. Her boys and her are also fans of the game, so it will be an opportunity to show her kids that they can do anything. One life experience she feels that has prepared her. Becoming a single parent has prepared her for most of the game. And that in itself has challenged her physically, mentally, emotionally, and basically in every single way possible. She wants to identify and play most like, well, I want to be a quiet strategist. I think my gameplay will most likely resemble that of Erica from season 41.
Oh,
Amazing
we love that.
queen. Oh. But I also love the way Natalie played in Blood versus Water and Winners at War. Love, and her strength and ability to never give up is most admirable. What will you value in an alliance partner? I value openness and honesty. I'm looking for someone who is not only loyal in their words but their actions. In order to gain her trust, they have to show her that they can be trusted in votes or by sharing valuable information. Her hobbies are when I'm not attending my kids' sporting events or kicking their butts in Mario Kart. I enjoy reading and listening to podcasts and sermons online. Her pet peeve is when people don't own up to their actions or mistakes.
Ooh,
Slay. Accomplishment she's most proud of. Canopy growth. I am most proud of how much I have grown over the last several years as an individual and in motherhood. I am very proud of the woman I am becoming. Something you never know from looking at her. I think at first glance, many wouldn't be able to tell that I am in my 30s and a mom of 2. Who in your life is your biggest inspiration and why? My parents are my biggest inspiration. So yeah, her parents are her most biggest inspiration, of course,
yeah.
and her mother is the most selfless and giving person, and her father is a hard worker and sole survivor. I believe that my personality, self-awareness, and adaptability will take me very far in this game. I'm also a go-getter, and no one wants this more than me. To me, this is not only a game, this is purpose, and I've been preparing for this game for a while, and I'm not leaving without a prize.
So I'll just start off right now. I really like Lauren a lot. I
Me
think that
too.
she already seems like she's going to get very far in this game. And
Yeah.
one thing that sticks out to me about her is she talks about how she doesn't like it when people don't own up to their mistakes.
Mhm.
And that is very important within Survivor because if somebody betrays Lauren, she'll be able to see through it like very easily because she doesn't like it when people aren't just owning up to the fact that they voted for her. And I think that's definitely going to be something that people are going to be like, we don't want to get on Lauren's, we don't want to get on her,
I feel like
on her bad side because of that.
with that, she's going to be a very vocal juror.
Yeah, I think so too. I think she's going to be very vocal, and I think that's definitely going to help her. But I also love just the passion that she has, and I think that passion is definitely going to help her throughout the game. And I think we're gonna see her make a lot of really cutthroat moves throughout the season. So I have very high hopes for Lauren. And spoilers, she is actually my next pick. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take her. I thought
we weren't doing. Wait, I thought we weren't doing a snake draft. No, it's fine. We can.
Oh, what do you mean?
Because we were just gonna have one pick each instead of 2.
Yeah, but it's fuck it, we can do that.
We'll just do the snake draft. It's fine. You can have her.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking we'll take people as we go along to make it quicker.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, she is definitely somebody that I want to see go very far in this game, and I hope that she I think that she's definitely going to be somebody to watch out for. So I really like Lauren a lot. But what do you want to say about her?
Well, I will say, damn you for picking her.
Sorry.
I'm kidding. um, but yeah, I really love her. I can. I don't know if I see her winning as of right now, but I do see her also making it really far.
Mhm.
Like I can see her getting like fourth,
Yeah,
like
I
maybe
can see that.
right before jury, and
Mhm.
then she's like very vocal with the final three, and like saying like, "Hey, what? Oh, please own your game," blah blah blah. Like really be vocal to all of the
Uh-huh.
final. But I have really high hopes for her. She just seems very passionate and then like just very vocal, very blunt, but like in like a nice way. Like she seems very strong and
Oh,
she's
yeah.
also a mom too. So she's probably going to be very motherly with
Yeah.
everybody and someone that they can go to for any kind of advice and
Yeah.
stuff. So I feel like she'll be very likable and very social. I can see her being very like I can definitely see her being a social player.
Yeah.
But and very strategic too. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to see her and I have very high hopes for her.
Yeah, and like I said, I think just the passion and the confidence she has as well is also gonna take her very far.
Oh
So,
yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
So that's everything to say about Lauren. We're going to go ahead and move on to Danny. Danny is 32. He resides in Bronx, New York. He is a NYC firefighter. He is kind, passionate, and determined. Um, he wants to be part of Survivor because he thinks Survivor is the game that puts the human condition on display and strips you down to your rawest form. It's terrifying. He believes the true happiness is found outside your comfort zone. One life experience that has prepared him for the game. He says he feels like if he was younger, he may have answered firefighting or mixed martial arts. However, he doesn't really believe that. He believes he can't really be prepared for the experience, which has made him more prepared, which I feel like that's a pretty good way to go into it. But he says that the previous player he identifies the most is Jeremy Collins. His favorite hobbies are Brazilian and jiu-jitsu, running with his dog, breathwork, and meditation. He doesn't like bullies and whining, which, I mean, you get a lot of whining on Survivor, so good luck with
Yeah,
that.
true.
Biggest accomplishment that he's most proud of is being kind always. Number one, being a compassionate fireman. He ran a 34-mile ultra marathon. Pretty proud of that. Something we would never know is that he was very insecure about his body, his voice, and his speech. And he says that his biggest inspiration is his mother. And he doesn't talk about why he might win the game. I guess he didn't answer that question for some reason. What do you think about
Oh wow.
Danny?
I mean, I think he seems like very chill, very nice. He kind of gives me like Jesse vibes. Like I feel like he'll be very strategic, very passionate, very humble, just like
Mm-hmm.
based on these answers. Um, but I can also see
Maybe,
him
yeah.
bonding with people. I can definitely see him bonding with people about like the insecurities and just like his story and everything. I can see him bonding with people about that. Um, I don't know how far he's gonna make it though. I could either see him being like jury, like merge or pre-merge. I don't see him being first boot, but I definitely see him being. I don't know. It's just he's kind of a question mark for me, like where he's gonna go, like where he's gonna place. But I do like him. He seems chill. I hope he does well. I feel like he'll be strong in challenges. Like he could be one of those people who's good in challenges, and but like they end up trying to go for him after a while because he's a big threat. But or maybe like I don't know, maybe right, maybe the merge boot. Who knows? But he's definitely a question mark in that sense. But I'm excited to see him.
I am on the opposite end of you. I think he's not going very far. The only thing I could see this
I
guy
mean, I don't
being
see him making it super far either. But he's a question mark.
Yeah, the only thing I could see this guy being is I could see him being like a really big com threat, just based on like his like body type and things like that. Like, I could definitely see him being somebody that goes really far, like and wins a lot of immunities. But like
Yeah.
aside from that, he gives me pre-jury vibes. There isn't a lot to latch onto. Yes, he seems like he's like a really nice guy and things like that, but it doesn't really seem like he says he's going in very like unprepared and he doesn't have a lot of an idea of what he's getting himself
That's
into.
true. Yeah.
But I think
That
the
that
problem
could
is
hurt. That could hurt him.
yeah, I think the problem is there's a lot of people who are going to go in prepared and have an idea of what they're going to do, and they're going to be a lot more confident he's going to get eaten alive because of it. So, yeah, I just don't see him getting very far. I think he's going to be the guy where it's like he seems nice, but he's kind of boring, and he ends up
Yeah.
going like he's like one of the first couple people out. I don't know if he's going to be first boot necessarily, but I just don't have very high hopes for him. Now, maybe he'll surprise me, because if you look back on our cast assessment for Survivor 41, I said Jesse was not making it far. I did say that. I said this guy's
43.
Yeah, I remember I said he was going to be out very early. I wasn't really a big fan of like his, bio and things like that. So Danny could very well surprise me, but right now I'm just not really feeling it. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Danny. I think he very well could be one of the first few people out of this game.
I don't see him being first boot. I see him being like I don't know. We'll see.
He gives me like Voce vibes.
Oh yeah.
In like 41, yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I could see him going like there, but yeah, that's really all I have to say about Danny. We're gonna move on to the next person, which is Heidi. Oh yeah, you're talking about Heidi, so
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Heidi is 43. She's from Ponce, Puerto Rico, but she currently resides in Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
Occupation: she's an engineering manager. She's energetic, adventurous, and loud. For Survivor, she said it's the dream. She wants to continue representing the Latin. How do you spell it? How do you say that?
Latinx.
I almost said it completely wrong. Latinx and Latinas out there, just like some pioneers have done in the past, and hoping some new people get inspired to go after their dreams. One life experience she feels prepared her. She is the first generation in the States. I moved with nothing and barely able to speak the language, and I had to learn and adapt all by myself to succeed. Previous player she identifies with the most and wants to play like. I absolutely love Sandra. I am from Puerto Rico, and if I can be half as good as her, that means I will win once. Although I want to compete in the challenges. After rewatching seasons, I truly like Angelina. She is seen as a villainess, but I love her female empowerment, and her negotiations have changed the game. What will you value in an alliance partner? Strategic collaboration and encouragement from each other when we get to the lows. Honesty is also important, but I know this game well enough to know that honesty is very hard to achieve. Hobby is CrossFit and playing board games. Her pet peeve is just rude people. It is always nice to be nice, which is T, honestly, mood. Right. Accomplishment she's most proud of. Beyond my family, which is the best part of my life, I am proud of a few things. I am proud of how far I've taken my career. I am proud of all my patents I have, and I am proud of all the marathons I've done. Something we would never know from looking at her. She's played for the national youth basketball team for 12 years old, and I was captain, or maybe that I have over 40 patents filed. Her biggest inspiration is her mother, and she wants to be the sole survivor because she's in it to win it. She wants to represent those people that may sound different, may look different. We do not have many role models out there, so I would love to win and be a role model for others. And of course, the money would be life-changing. What do you think of her?
I think she has the potential. I don't see her as like somebody who's getting like super far, but I think that she could do really well. She seems really nice, and she seems like somebody that people are naturally going to like vibe really well with, just because of like just how like kind she is and things like that. But she also says that like she likes Sandra, she likes a good villain and all that stuff. And maybe that'll be a side of her that people aren't going to see. And she also talks about like honesty, and like it's very hard to it's hard to be honest in this game. So it seems like she knows what she's getting herself into. Right now though, I would say she's very much a question mark to me, but not in the sense where you were with David. I do think she is at least making it far. I just don't know how far. Like, that's really where I'm at with Heidi. It's like, I think she is going to make it far, but I don't know where. But I do see her doing pretty well. What do you think?
I really like her. Like, she I don't see her winning, but she's also another question mark too. But I also kind of like, because I don't know how far she's gonna make it, but I also see her being like a merge boot. But we'll see. I like that she wants to represent like all people and her culture
Oh
and
yeah.
all that, everything. And that's just very important, and I love that. And
Oh yeah.
I hope she does well. She seems really nice. I like her, but she's just kind of a question mark on where she's gonna go right now. But like where she's gonna place. But I do really enjoy her so far. Hopefully she does well.
Yeah, I think that's all we need to say about Heidi. We're going to move on here to Carson. Carson is 20 years old.
I
He's
just
from
realized you're doing all the guys. I'm doing all the girls.
Yeah, right? It's funny, the way that's worked out. Well, it'd be funny if a guy came up and then that breaks the streak, but,
I
um,
know.
currently resides in Atlanta, Georgia. Occupation is he is a NASA engineering scientist, not scientist, student. Three words to describe himself: multifaceted, exuberant, and innovative. He wants to be part of Survivor because he wants to win the game that he knows and loves and prove that age does not define success. As someone who's obsessively studied the evolution of game theory within Survivor, he cannot wait to test himself and see how unique thought process and strategic background fare on a game built upon the idea of adaptability. While he believes that winning Survivor requires some luck, he thinks that his intuition and discernment will lead him down a path to victory. A life experience he's feel prepared for is over the last year, he's completed 2 semesters worth of workforce development training at NASA. His first semester specialized in proposal writing, and his second dealt with mission concept design. He was the project manager of a team of 10 students working with a variety of people from all over the country to develop a formal engineering report was a challenge. So
DM Rock says Carson reminds me of Christian from David versus Goliath.
I can't comment on that because I haven't seen that season, but what do you think?
I'm trying to remember what he looks like. Hold on.
I don't know. But player that he identifies the most with is Christian Hubicki, actually, the person that was just mentioned, I think. Christian
Yeah.
embraces quirks
Oh
and
yeah,
nerdiness
I can see this.
to disarm his opponents into wanting to work with him. He uses charm and intelligence as a weapon, and despite being labeled as the weakest male on the David tribe initially, he became one of the biggest threats after the merge. He intends to model his game after him, but focusing more on diminishing his threat level until the end game. He does not plan to reveal his engineering background, which is good. He definitely should not do that.
Good.
He wants people to solely view him as Mr. Nice Guy and plans to ensure no one will detect his deeply strategic underside. An alliance partner, the quality he values the most is loyalty. He would love to be in an alliance with someone who, no matter what, would never vote him out. Though personally, he's willing to do anything and work with anyone if it puts him in a better position to win. He loves 3D printing, Settlers of Catan, photography, Minecraft, strategic board games, space engineering, YouTube videos, and Civilization V. Pet peeves are mosquitoes, delayed texters, people who text him essays, people who play on their phone during a movie. Oh, I feel you on this one.
Okay, I feel that.
Smacking gum in a silent room, people who radiate negative vibes, and people who think the moon landing is fake. Some of those are very specific.
Right.
Accomplishment he's most proud of is being the recipient of the National Student Volunteer for 2022. Something that he would never know from looking at him is that most people never know that he 3D prints and designs Survivor puzzles for fun, which is part of his preparation. Biggest inspiration is that his great-grandfather is his biggest inspiration in his life, growing up in poverty and working his way up to become a chief engineer at NASA. And when talking about the Soul Survivor, he says he will be a Soul Survivor because of his natural ability to push himself to succeed. No matter the challenge he's presented with, he will never give up and always prepare to the best of his ability. He plans to use his emotional intelligence, logical mind, and kindness to bring home the $1 million check and become the youngest Survivor winner in the process. So I will say right now, I was very skeptical about him at first, but his answers really won me over. He is very intelligent. He knows a lot about what he's getting himself into. He has extensive knowledge when it comes to Survivor, whether it be through constructing 3D puzzles, which is insane. He's played many a board game, many strategic games like throughout, his life. So he knows what he's getting himself into. And I think he's going in with exactly the right mindset. He knows that if he was to come in and be this like NASA student, everybody's going to view him as like smart and intelligent, and he's going to go out very early. But him downplaying that and trying to be more like the Mr. Nice Guy type, I think is exactly what he needs to do. So I actually have very high hopes for Carson. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I think he is going to make it very far. And I think we're going to be very surprised by what we see in him. I will admit when I saw his his photo and like read his occupation, I was like, this guy's probably going to be like one of the first boots. But listening to, his planning and things like that, I actually think he has a lot of potential. So what do you think?
I actually pretty like him.
Yeah.
I mean, I either see him being like a first or second boot, or I see him making it really far. Like Paula Kevin Jacobs from BB Can.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I could see, I honestly, that's a good comparison. I could see him playing like that.
Yeah. Cause like I can see him being very strategic and
Yeah.
because he's got like that nerdy type, obviously, like
Oh
just
yeah.
like based on what
But
he
he's
said.
trying to he's kind of trying to downplay that, which I think is
But
good.
yeah, I can see him downplaying that and just being like the nice guy and who's very loyal and strategic. But just low key, I can see him being very low key.
Yeah.
Just like being social with everybody, trying to stay on like the right side of the votes, stuff like that. I hope it doesn't come back and bite him in the ass because like
Yeah.
I do want him to do well,
Yeah.
but
Same.
as of right now, I don't know where he'd go. Like I maybe like mid jury, but that's where I see him. I can either see him well, yeah, I either see him being like first, second, third boot or like mid jury. That's right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
kind
mean,
of, yeah.
I hope he does well though.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of potential, especially as one of the younger players. I think he could do really well this season, but we'll see. But that's all we have to say about Carson. We're gonna move on, keeping the trend going, where you talk about another woman.
I already followed her on Twitter like recently today too.
Oh well, that probably answers the question. But go ahead and talk about Maddie.
All right. Apparently I like to root for Maddies. I root for all of the Maddies from BB Can, so I'm excited to talk about her.
I'm just gonna go ahead and put her on your draft. There we go.
I mean, yeah, she is gonna be my second pick.
Yeah, I feel like that was pretty obvious, but go ahead about Maddie.
All right. Maddie is 28 from Huntington, what is that supposed to be?
Maryland, I think.
Maryland, I think.
I think it's
She
Maryland.
currently
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota. I didn't know there's a D in Minnesota.
Oops. I mean Maryland. She currently resides in Brooklyn, New York, and she's a charity projects manager. She's brave, friendly, and feral. She gets a kick out of doing things that scare her or that feel impossible or that she dreamed of and she dreams of doing this as a kid. Survivor checks all of those boxes. Life experience that she feels has prepared her. She is one of 5 sisters. She's the classic middle child, social, independent, problem solving. And to survive the Pomia sisters, you've got to be dynamic and keep up. Previous players she identifies with the most and who she wants to play like. Strategically, probably Sari or Omar. And swag-wise, probably Malcolm. Ooh, good choices. She values an alliance partner, someone practical, open-minded, not self-serious, and must be fun. Her hobbies are surfing, skateboarding, making movies with my sisters, dancing all night, pretending she's Madonna at karaoke, and laying in the grass. Her pet peeves are elitists, mansplaining, impatience, having sand on her feet when she puts socks on. It's funny. Accomplishment she's most proud of. She's done some cool things like trekking to Everest base camp, but the real best thing she's done is make the hottest guy from NYU date her for the last 7 years. That's funny. She something we never know. Something we never know from looking at her. She placed 3rd in an ultra marathon when she was 22. She's
a lot
not
of
as
people
buff,
running a marathon in this cast,
right? She's not as buff as everyone else on the cast, so y'all need to know she can at least run far. Her biggest inspiration is her 4 crazy sisters who are just like her but better, and her dad Paul. They lead life with compassion, curiosity, honesty, and are really good down to earth people. And why she wants to be the sole survivor: she loves living in the gray area where anything could happen at any moment, so she'll coast on chaos and have fun doing it. Honestly, she's honestly my winner pick.
Really? Okay.
I mean, I either get winner vibes from her or at least making it really far. Or at least making actually no, she's at least making it to the end or winning. Just because like she just seems very likable, very sweet. She'll definitely be social with everybody. She'll probably be like a Cassidy in that sense.
Yeah,
very social. I can see her doing well in challenges based on like doing the marathon stuff and everything and all and like her hobbies. I can see her being social and physical, but I can see her being strategic as well in that Cassidy sense. So I can see her being a triple threat. She'll definitely make it far. I hope she doesn't go early because I'd be very sad. She just seems very fun, very sweet, and just seems like just very down to earth. She just seems like the like sweet, cute girl that will go far. So I have really high hopes for her. I'm excited to watch her.
For some reason, she gives me like Lydia vibes from like 42, where like she's really fun to
Ooh,
watch and like we enjoy her, but she doesn't really have a lot going for her and like she doesn't get super far
maybe.
because of it. But we'll see. I mean, I think she seems really fun. I just don't know a lot about like how she's gonna play overall. Like I think she could
Yeah.
definitely be a triple threat in that way, but there's nothing about this particular bio that like jumped out at me.
Mhm.
So right now, that's probably where I'd put her. I'd say she's going to be like a Lydia, where she's really fun to watch. She has a lot of great moments, but did she really do all that much in the game? Not really. I think that's where Maddie's going to be. Hopefully her Twitter is a lot of fun because we love Lydia's Twitter. But you know, in terms of like in terms of like how I think she's gonna do in the game, I'm kind of meh on her right now, but we'll see. We'll see how she does. I think she seems fun, but I don't really have a lot else to say. So we're gonna go on, move on to the next person here. This is Bruce. He is from Rest. Can I speak?
West
West
Warwick.
Warwick, West Warwick, Rhode Island. Jesus Christ. He is a insurance agent. Three words to describe him are energetic, funny, and competitive. He wants to be part of Survivor because this is a great social experiment. It breaks you down only to test you back up. He says that there are many experiences, but if he had to choose one, that it would be turning into the husband and father that he is today after being abandoned as a child. That's the one life experience they felt prepared for. Previous player they identifies the most with is Jeremy Collins. He identifies the most with him, his sense of family and commitment. He would value in an alliance partner someone that looks at Survivor at what it is. He would also value an alliance partner that shows loyalty to tell him that his name is coming up, as he would do for them. Favorite hobbies are golf and boxing. Pet peeves are people who run their fork on their teeth while eating. The accomplishment he's most proud of is raising two awesome kids with his amazing wife. Something we would never know from looking at him is that he was adopted by a white family.
Oh wow.
Something that is his biggest inspiration is his adopted mother. She takes no shit, but gives a great amount of love. Soul Survivor is because this is time he will be social and rely on his strategic wit. I like him. He gave very brief answers, admittedly, so I don't really have a ton to say about Bruce, but he seems fun. I see him as an early merge boot. I do. That's where I kind of see Bruce right now. I don't think he's going to get terribly far, but I don't think he's going to be one of the first out. That's kind of where I see Bruce right now. Again, not really a lot to say. He didn't really give a lot of like insight into his game aside from like him talking about what he values in like an alliance partner.
Yeah.
Seems like a big fan of the game and things like that, but not really a ton to latch onto besides that. But what do you think about Bruce?
He seems like a nice, chill guy, but yeah, he's also another question mark because like he's I just don't really know his game very much. So besides like being
Yeah.
loyal and stuff, like I can see him bonding with people well, but his placement it's a question mark, but I don't see him making it very far. I don't see him being first boot though. But I mean, I want to be surprised. I hope he does well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all we really have to say about Bruce. Move on. It's the trend continues. Go ahead and talk about Sarah.
All right. Sarah is 27. She's from Rochester, Minnesota, but she resides in Chicago. She's a management consultant. She's strategic, driven, and fun. To be a part of Survivor, she's been a fan since the beginning. She grew up looking up to women like Stephanie, Sari, and Parvati. And the opportunity is to go out there and play herself is a lifelong dream. One life experience she feels has prepared her. Her best friend died 2 years ago. Aw. And the experience has given her drive to pursue her dreams, grit to get through unpleasant experiences, and compassion for other people's unseen challenges. And all three will fuel her Survivor success. Identify and play like. She identifies with Natalie. She's competitive, direct, and pretty loyal. However, she's willing to make moves against her alliance when timing is right. Value an alliance partner. She values someone logical with a strategic mind. Duos can be so powerful if they remain loyal. So I also want to find someone who I don't think will flip on her first. Her hobbies are doing anything outdoors, biking, working out, playing beach volleyball, reading, eating raw food, and drinking sweet drinks. Her pet peeves: sound of someone chewing, rule followers, people who are closed minded and inflexible. Her accomplishment she's most proud of: she's most proud of her admittance to grad school. Something we would never know from looking at her: I major in finance and economics and graduated summa cum laude with a 3.98 GPA.
Mm.
Her biggest inspiration, her best friend Kely, who passed away unexpectedly 2 years ago.
Aw.
She inspires her to be a bold, brave, badass person in everything that she does. And she was all those things and more, and she is inspired to live in a way that would make her proud and be a sole survivor because she knows the game inside and out, and she understands people, and she's very observant. What do you
I
think?
really like her. I think that she definitely has definitely seems very like strategic in the way that she's going to play the game, and I think that she could go really far. I could also see her being a very early boot. I definitely do see that within Sarah. She doesn't strike me as someone who's going to get like super far, like all the way to like the end or something. But
Mhm.
I do think she's going to do pretty well. But what do you think?
I like her. She's someone I can either seeing making it far, or I mean, making it around like the merge phase, or like jury, or she's gonna make it like, or she's gonna be pre-merge. She's like a question mark in that sense too. But I do like her. She seems like she's there. Just I feel like her story, she'll bond with certain people about with
Mhm.
that, and she'll probably be very strategic. But I don't know. She's just someone like, it's very hit or miss game wise. Like I don't really know what's gonna happen with her, but I'm excited to watch her because I do really like her.
All right, so I think that's all we need to say about Sarah. Let's move on to Matthew. He is from Pickerton, Ohio. He currently resides in Columbus, Ohio. He's a barbershop owner. And he's very spontaneous, caring, and adventurous. Want to be a part of Survivor because he's been a super fan since day one. He loves the outdoors, always wanted a shot to be the sole survivor. Love the challenges, beautiful settings, and amazingly diverse cast, which, yes, we do love the diversity.
Oh, oh
Um,
yeah, amazing.
life experience that has him most prepared is his mom worked for the YMCA when he was younger, so he's always been outside in a forest, climbing trees, swimming in lakes and rivers, surrounded by friends and nature. His unique childhood taught him to love the outdoors and people. The player he identifies the most, he thinks, is Elaine, the most because she was hilarious yet genuine. He would like to think that he will play most like Shan or Ben. Everyone came to Shan and felt comfortable telling their info. Ben was someone who had his baggage and learned how to overcome it and help others along the way. The thing he wants in an alliance partner is trust, trust, trust. You have to be able to trust someone in the game, but you also want someone who has different talents than yourself. So what you offer each other fills the other's weak spots. Favorite hobbies or adventures with his son and husband: roller coasters, water slides, eating food from all over the world, growing and collecting plants. Pet peeves are when people talk in circles, people who don't give others time to talk in a convo. Oops, that's me. Sorry. Not intentionally, but it happens a lot. The color combo of purple and white. That's interesting. Misformed popsicles, odd numbers. I'm actually with him on the odd numbers. I don't like those either. Pineapple on pizza and malt chocolate candy. Accomplishment he's most proud of is his amazing family. He wouldn't be the man he is today without them. He owes everything to them, and they're his driving force. Something he would never know is he has a huge heart and compassion for all those around him. He will help anyone to be the best possible versions of themselves, and it's so uplifting to see and help someone succeed. The person that is the biggest inspiration in his life is his husband, Dale. He fell in love with him before he knew how to love himself, and he doesn't
Aw.
think he'd be here without him in his life. And he says he has the heart, the drive, and the ability to see this to the end. There will be a ton of giggles and rainbows along the way. I love this guy. I see him going
Me
really
too.
far. He loves the diversity. He talks about, he seems really funny. He seems like he's going to be someone that's like really fun to watch throughout the season. But he also values a lot in trust. And I think that's something that is going to get him quite far. He wants people that he can latch onto. He wants to be able to trust someone in the game. I feel like he's going to be like super loyal. He's not going to go like the villainous route or something like that. And I think we're definitely going to see that. That could also potentially bite him in the ass because he is just such a nice guy in that way. But I feel like Matt understands Survivor enough that he's going to realize that you're going to have to make those cutthroat moves at some point, and I think he's definitely willing to do that. So I actually see a lot of potential in him. I think he could go very far. I don't know how far he's going to go, but I at least seen him getting to like top 6 or top 7. So yeah, I have a lot of hope in Matthew, honestly.
I do too. Like, I really like this guy. Like, he seems very driven, very fun, very nice, and just like he just has that drive. And yeah, I don't see him winning right now, but I see him kind of 6th, 7th, like you said, as well, or 8th, somewhere in there. But yeah, so he'll definitely make it far. He'll definitely make it to jury. I'm excited to see what he does. I feel like he'll be just like very strategic. But yeah, I'm very excited to see him.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think that's all we need to say about Matthew. Let's move on to Helen, the next person you'll be talking about.
All right. Helen is 29. She's from Wayland, Massachusetts, but she currently resides in San Francisco, California. She's a product manager. She's empathetic, optimistic, and self-aware. She's been watching Survivor for over a decade and never ceases to be impressed by how a game built on deception and testing relationships has brought up conversation around society's most pressing issues and how we all get along with each other. It's the ultimate game with an ultimate challenge she can put herself through. One life experience she feels prepared her. Growing up in college, she was a part of a number of different communities and learned to adapt to the norms of each of them. Often context switching between very different groups, such as her predominantly Chinese dance group and her American high school. She identifies with Erica from season 41 because they're both small Asian women who can be underestimated. And she plays like a mix of Tina from season 2 because she was well liked and underestimated because of it, and Sophie Clark from South Pacific for her strategic prowess. Valiant Alliance member, partnership and loyalty to her and only her. Favorite hobbies: travel, downhill skiing, board games and puzzles, and hiking. Pet peeves: toilet paper roll going under instead of over, and traffic disrespectful people. Accomplishment she's most proud of is growing into someone her parents say they never have to worry about. And something you never know from looking at her: she can complete an expert level of Minesweeper in under 2 minutes. Biggest inspiration are her parents. They left China for the US in their early 20s and have worked their asses off since then to give her brother and her every opportunity they could afford. And Soul Survivor, she'll be underestimated from the get-go and can adapt her game to the dynamics at play at the time. And she thinks she can pull the strings without anyone realizing it's her. By the time they do, it'll be too late. She's going to be my next pick.
Okay. I had a feeling. Yeah, I really like her a lot as well. I think she is going to go super far. I see her potentially also being a possible winner of the game. I think the comparisons to Erica are definitely there with how like she's going to be, underestimated and people aren't going to see it coming. She has the story. I really like her a lot. What else do you want to say about Helen?
Honestly, she's my winner pick. I mean, like Maddie too, but like she'll be my number 1 winner pick just because like she gives me the Erica vibe. Like game wise, they'll be underestimated. She probably won't have much of much of airtime until later. So I definitely see her making it far. I can see her winning for sure, and I'm very excited because she's very small too, and she seems just very smart, very sweet. And her story is definitely going to like attract people, and I feel like they'll really love her and she'll be very likable. So I have really high hopes for her.
Yeah, me too. I
love her.
I hate that you stole her because I was about to take her. But
I'm sorry. Can I see the draft, by the way?
Oh yeah, you want a draft update? Yeah.
Yeah, just want to see.
Okay, so far I have Yam Yam and Lauren, and you have Helen, Maddie, and Claire.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah. And then you'll have 2 picks next.
There's no one that's jumped out at me yet.
Oh, also, you should probably put Claire Claire and then Maddie and then Helen, just so it's.
Oh no, I'm putting them in order of like who's our winner pick.
Oh, okay, cool. All right,
that's the order I'm putting them in.
Next person. We're almost done, I think. We'll have a few more.
Yeah, we are. Okay. Next person. Yeah, we only have a few more to talk about. Next person here, we have Josh. He's 34. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio. He is a surgical podiatrist. He's adventurous, charismatic, and ambitious. He wants to be a part of Survivor to prove to himself and any other little gay black boy or girl that you can do anything you put your mind to. Growing up with a medical condition, he was always told by multiple people and doctors that he couldn't or wouldn't be able to do things like other people. He called bullcrap and have completely astounded doctors with what he has achieved, both professionally and personally. Never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. He feels as if his life experience will help get him further in the game. As a physician, he has met a variety of new people on a daily basis. This will help his social game, as he must get that individual to trust his diagnosis, explanation, and treatment plan in 20 minutes during an office visit. He says he identifies most with Jeremy. He will play most like Avi. He has a great social game Avi. He has a great social game and was a beast at challenges. He values an alliance partner's complete honesty and trustworthiness. Without those two characteristics, do you really have an alliance? His favorite obstacles are obstacle course races, traveling, and tending to his houseplants. Pet peeves are those who pronounce salmon, unnecessary rudeness, and people who walk slow in front of him. His accomplishment he's most proud of is graduating in the top of his class after undergoing a total gastrectomy during his first year of medical school. Something we would never know from looking at him is that one would never know that he was born with a congenial deformity called prune belly syndrome. This required him to have a kidney transplant at 9 years old. He's on life immunosuppressant medication, which inadvertently caused him to develop stomach cancer when he was 25. Aww. He has had a complete stomach removal because of this and relearned how to eat. He's doing great and is cancer-free. His biggest inspiration is his mom, also his deceased kidney donor, Kristen Regal. And he will be the sole survivor because adversity and survival has been his life. He wasn't supposed to live past age 5. He survived a kidney transplant. He beat cancer. He grew up a gay black man in Ohio. He knows how to communicate with many different people to establish trust and alliance to further his gameplay. He's a very athletic individual, which has only come from the hard work and dedication to being healthy due to his illness, which means he can take a negative situation and flip it into a positive endeavor. This is required to outlast all the trials and tribulations of the game. Honestly, this guy might be my winner pick. I really just like his story a lot. And the fact that he's able to connect with people as well as he is, I feel like is going to take him very far. He will absolutely be my next draft pick. I think that his story and things like that, it's just something that people are really going to latch onto. I think he's going to be great socially, but I think he's also going to have that strategic mind because he's going to be able to bond with so many people that it's going to put him in a really great position. So yeah, I see Josh potentially winning this entire thing. I have a lot of hope in him. What do you think?
Honestly, he's another one I have really high hopes for too. He could definitely win as well. Like next to like Helen and Maddie, I think he'll probably win as well out of if it's not them.
Yeah.
Because this guy, he's been through a lot. Like he is very strong, very resilient. And wow, like his story was making me like emotional. And
yeah, me too.
I feel like he'll be very likable and I have really high hopes for him and just all around seems amazing and a great guy and I cannot wait to watch him play.
Yeah, same. I think he's going to be one of the he's going to be one of the players to really look out for this season. So I'm very excited to see him.
I will be very sad if he leaves early.
Yeah, me too. All right, let's talk about the next person.
Okay, Jamie Lynn. Not Jamie Lynn Spears.
Oh God, no, I hope not.
Right, same.
This is not Special Forces.
No, she is 35. She's from Mesa, Arizona, and that's where she resides. She's a yogi. She's enthusiastic, magnetic, and loving. She's been a day one Survivor fan. She grew up watching with her family. Thanks to their VHS recorder, they never miss an episode. As a super fan, it's lifelong dream to be the sole survivor, and she's learned a lot from the show and that anything is possible. And her time in her life experience is her time in corporate America prepared her for the show. She spent over a decade navigating different personalities and building winning teams. Relationship building is everything. She relates to Angelina, who is bold and brilliant. She'll play like Erica, who has a high level game, and her social skills and strategic relationship building was amazing. She values loyalty, and she's looking for a ride or die. Her hobbies are gardening, yoga, cooking, golfing, hiking, reading, painting, swimming, writing, eating, laughing, meditating, and catching up on her shows. Her pet peeves are cold food, sound of the alarm clock on the iPhone, you know the one, a lack of potato chips in a brand new bag. Fair. Accomplishment she's most proud of, having the courage to quit a 10-year career to follow her dreams. Something you never know from looking at her. She loves scary movies and grew up watching Freddy, Jason, and Chucky. Her biggest inspiration are her parents. They taught her never give up and made sure she can do anything she puts her mind to. And she wants to be the sole survivor because she will have built solid relationships with all her new best friends, and relationship building is everything. What do you think of her?
I don't know about her. She's a big question mark for me. I think she could do well, but we didn't really get a ton of insight about her game and things like that. She talks about that she values loyalty and things like that, but I don't know. I just feel like she's gonna get eaten alive. Like she could be a very early boot, I feel like. But what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat there. Like, she's definitely a question mark. I don't see her making, as of right now, I don't see her making merge. I don't see her, I mean, I could see her being first boot or like maybe like an early boot at least, but we'll see. I don't know. She's just a big question mark for me, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how Jamie Lynn ends up doing, but we move on to our next person. This is Kane. He is 25, Moose Jaw, Canada.
Yes, Canada, woo!
Yes, Saskatoon, Canada. Occupation law student, inclusive, loud, and competitive. He says that Survivor is the best game you can get your hands on. He's a gamer through and through. He have watched since he was a wee lad, and make no mistake, he's here to play. Previous player he identifies with the most is that he feels like he has the effortless charisma of a younger and more handsome Tyson, but he'd like to play a Zeke game with a few tweaks to bring home gold. Value in an alliance partner is pure honesty. The straighter they shoot, the better he likes them. Favorite hobbies are Dungeons and Dragons, caring for his dog, and Survivor. Pet peeves are bad drivers, all talk, no walkers. Accomplishment he's most proud of is being recognized as the best negotiator in a national negotiation competition for Canadian law schools. Something we would never know is that he has a beautiful singing voice. His biggest inspiration is his mother, and he's going to be the sole survivor because he's quickly on his feet. I will be honest, this guy gives me first boot vibes. I feel like he is.
But he's Canadian.
The going to be the person.
Well.
I mean, Canadian. Yes, we do love the Canadian. We do love the Canadians, but just something about him, he just gives me that vibe where it's like he's not going to be able to connect well with people on his tribe. He's not going to be in a great position. I don't really see him doing well at like challenges and things like that. He just gives me the vibe of like he's not going far at all. I think he might be the first boot, but what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm rooting for Canadians, and like, I want them to do well because a lot of Canadians have done super well, obviously. But I sadly see him being first boot, maybe second at most, but we'll see. I just don't see him really vibing with anyone much, but I mean, we'll see. Like, I love being surprised.
We'll see what happens when it comes to Kane. I think that's all we need to say about him. Moving on to the last person we're talking about here.
No, there's
actually, no,
this
is the last one because this. Oh yeah, that's true. All right, talk about Franny.
All right. Franny is 23 from St. Paul, Minnesota, but she lives in Cambridge. She resides in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She's a research coordinator. She's curious, calculating, and zesty. Survivor is like a 4-course meal for brain, body, and spirit. Where else can you untangle complex social webs, perform extreme physical feats, and learn your own limits, only to exceed them? She worked at an intense high traffic nail salon for 5 years where she had to balance the needs of customers with those of 20 Vietnamese women, many twice her age, and with ranging language barriers. She had to navigate very different perspectives to keep everyone happy, sometimes with grown adults literally screaming in her face about their nails. She identifies and wants to play like, there are so many players I like to say here, but I identify most with Gabby and Aubrey. I hope to play like those two strong women with that extra spunk that we saw from Marianne. And she wants someone who is interested in talking through every possible outcome, and she never wants to move forward with a plan before considering alternatives. Her hobbies are collecting leaves, game nights, and collaging. Accomplishment she's most proud of is she got a perfect score on the MCAT. And something you never know from looking at her is she works at a center for mindfulness and compassion, and she has a daily practice in yoga and mindfulness meditation. Biggest inspiration is she thinks Sophie Clark is actually the coolest person ever.
Oh, wow.
And runner-up is the Scarlet Witch. And Soul Survivor because she has 2 superpowers in this game, enthusiasm and adaptability. She's always learning and shifting based on her surroundings, and she'll weather any storm with a smile. What do you think of her?
She seems a little boring. I'm not gonna lie. There just isn't a lot to her overall that I can really latch on to. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't really have a lot to say about her.
Yeah, she's very interesting. She's another one that can give me first boot vibes. I just don't really see her being like, I just don't really see her vibing with any of them that much, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully she surprised me, but she's just kind of meh right now.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if we're surprised, but right now Franny is not someone I'm all that high on. But moving on, we have the last person we're talking about. This is Brandon. Brandon is 30. He's from Newtown, Pennsylvania. He's a security specialist. He's easygoing, ambitious, and confident. He wants to be part of Survivor because he is because it's a once in a lifetime adventure. Survivor is the perfect combination of physical and mental strengths. He wants to challenge himself in an avenue that he really has no experience in. By no means is he a survivalist. He has never been camping. Surviving in the elements will be an exciting challenge. The one life experience that has prepared for him that he has been prepared for in the game is making it to the NFL has prepared him for Survivor. He's had to overcome one obstacle after another to make a team. It taught him the importance of hard work and believing in himself, even when the cards are stacked against him. The player he identifies the most is Danny. He knows what it's like to play in the NFL and carried a lot of those lessons, but he thinks he will play the most like Jeremy because of his self-awareness. He knew that he would be a physical threat, so he kept other physically strong survivors around as meat shields. He will value an alliance partner, someone he can communicate well with. There really is no trust in the game of Survivor, so he wants to align with someone who's predictable. Favorite hobbies are coaching at Parisi speed school, snowboarding, enjoying any lake, cooking, and grilling. Pet peeves are gum smacking, people eating with their mouth open. I know you especially love that.
Yeah,
he's most proud of is playing for the Seattle Seahawks. All right, so my dad's got to watch this season now because he'll be rooting for him.
Also, Seattle Seahawks, but also yes, eating with mouth open, yuck.
All right, keep that in mind. But something you would never know from looking at you would never know that he plays the piano. He's also does some pretty good magic tricks. That's pretty cool. His biggest inspiration in life is his parents, and he wants to be the sole survivor because he's the perfect combination of physical and mental strength. He will be able to fit into any crowd because he has been exposed to many different backgrounds of people. He will not be denied. I like him. I think he definitely, I will say right now, I think this is probably like the physical threat of the season. I think definitely he's going to go really far in that sense. Oh, yeah, especially. I think he's definitely going to be like probably one of the biggest physical threats. But is that going to translate well into gameplay? I think so. He seems like he is going to vibe really well with people. He talks about how he has the like physicality of Danny, but he also has that more like strategicness of like Jeremy Collins. A lot of Jeremy Collins answers I noticed.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think he has a lot of potential to do really well. I'm definitely rooting for him. I think he definitely has a shot of making it pretty far. I'm going to say Brandon makes it to top 4. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Brandon makes it to at least top 4. After that, I don't know where he goes, but I am pretty confident he's making it far. What do you think?
I really like him. I think he's definitely making it far too. I can see him actually making it to the end.
Yeah,
He can either I think he could either win or at least get second or third. But so he's definitely a 1 winner pick, but not like my top winner pick right now. But yeah, I really like him. I think he'll be very likable, very physical. But yeah, I can see him being a triple threat. And yeah, I see him making it really far, and I'm excited to watch him. And yeah, I have high hopes for him. I really like him a lot.
All right. Well,
And
with
let's
that
finish
said,
it.
here comes the fun part. We got to finish the draft here.
I think you have
So
one more than mine next to.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I will pick my next one. I was between 2 people just based on what we read. But I think ultimately I'm going to go ahead and pick Matthew.
Okay.
Yeah, Matthew seems like he's going to go really far. I think that he seems like he knows a lot about Survivor. I like what he said about like the diversity and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to go with him.
All right. Honestly, my next pick is going to be Brandon, just because I really like him and I see him doing really well.
Okay,
Because
I'm good with that.
Once we were reading his bio, I'm like, yeah, next pick for me.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, and then I think I have one more because we're doing a snake draft now.
Yeah.
Let's see. My next one, I'm gonna pick. Offhand, what are all their names?
The ones that are left, we have this is Sarah. This is Sarah.
Okay.
We have this one is Jamie Lynn.
Oh, okay.
We have this is Kane, I believe. Yeah. It's hard to tell when their heads are cut off.
Right. That's so funny.
This is this is Heidi. This one is Matt.
I thought Heidi's the one in the yellow dress.
No, that's Heidi. Oh yeah, that's Heidi.
That's what I said.
Yeah, who's this? What's her name? What the fuck is her name? We just looked at her.
The Franny person.
Franny. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. This is Matt. That one is Carolyn.
Okay.
And then we have Danny, and then Heidi, Carson.
You know what? I think give me Carson.
Fuck. Okay, I was gonna pick him next.
I think he's gonna do very well.
I think so too. That's why I was gonna pick him.
He's like the Kevin of Survivor. So like I'm excited, and I see him doing really well in this game, and he's gonna be very smart.
That's why I was planning to pick him as well.
Oh, sorry.
But
no, you have 2 more.
Yeah, I have 2 more here. Okay, so next person. Shit, who am I picking next? I'll go with Heidi. I see a lot of potential.
Look, I was gonna pick her too.
Well, that's what you get for picking Carson.
You have one more.
All right. Of the people left here, who do I see doing the best?
I see you doing the best.
What?
I see you doing the best.
Well, I'm not playing, but thank you. You're wrong. I would not do well on Survivor.
Oh, okay. I mean, you never know.
I don't think I would. I think Big Brother's like in the circle are like more my speed. But I'll go with Matt. Why not?
Okay. All right. Okay. Give me Sarah.
Okay.
I think she'll do like she's the. Didn't we say she's the one that's like we think is very like middle of the road right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with her. And then,
Yeah, she seems like she's like a question mark.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are kind of question marks.
All the people left here for me are question marks. Like all the people left, aside from like one person.
Right? I'm looking at their pictures and everything.
Like I feel like all the ones I'm confident on are taken. So
yeah. I'm gonna go with Carolyn.
Okay. I mean, I did say I think this person is probably at least making merge, so I think because of that, I'm gonna pick Bruce.
Okay.
And then you know what? I know I said that like I thought she doesn't seem like she's gonna do that well, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick Franny.
Okay.
Because I think she could surprise us. I think she could surprise us.
Okay, so who's left? It's Kane,
It's
Jamie Lynn, and
Kane, Jamie Lynn, and Danny.
All right. I'm gonna go Danny.
Okay.
Because I feel like out of those three, he's probably the one that will do the best, but
I
we'll
agree.
see.
I agree.
Oh God, these last two, it's tough. And then you obviously get
because I legitimately think these could be the first two boots.
I mean, Kane obviously gives first, second boot vibes. Jamie Lynn just gives pre-merge.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll just take Kane because Canadian.
Okay. And then I got Jamie Lynn. I'm fine with that. So, okay. So rounding it out here, I have Josh, Yam Yam, Lauren. We then have Matthew, Heidi, Matt, Bruce. We then have we have Franny and Jamie Lynn, and then who you have?
Helen, Maddie, Claire, Brandon, Carson, Sarah, Carolyn, Danny, and Kane.
All right. And with that, that is our draft. And that's it for this video. We got a lot done, Allie. We did it under 3 hours. We're about to get to 3 hours, but we did it under 3 hours. So
we're all caught up.
Yes, we're officially caught up. So Survivor 44 will be starting on Wednesday. We're very excited for it. I feel like this cast is going to be better. Like, I feel like this season is going to be more of what we expect to see in Survivor. But either way, excited to see how the season shapes up. With that said, I know we have a lot of other things to catch up on. We still, believe it or not, have to talk about BB24. We're also talking about the Circle, the Traders, a lot of stuff that's come out. BB can, even though we don't have any fucking feeds, BB can.
I mean, I hope they bring the feeds.
Yeah, I hope they do what they did with Ethan, I think his name was, and change their minds and be like, we don't need to do this.
I hope so.
But yeah, other than that,
we will do our very late BB24 review as well.
Yes, I did mention that. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up here?
I'm very happy we're trying to get back on track with our podcast because I had a lot of fun doing this, and we're just gonna try and be more consistent again because our schedules have been so busy. But we're definitely gonna get back on track because this is really important to us.
Yes, for sure. But that's really it for this video. As always, comment down below, let us know what you guys thought of both Survivor 43 and what you think of this upcoming season. Are you excited for it? Do you like this cast? All that stuff.
Yes.
But that's really it for this. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night.